Chapter 634, 40 Spiritual Root Offsprings. Lottery Draw, Wine Brewing? Lu Changxing furrowed his brows upon seeing the reward for this lottery draw. As his strength and status grew, he gradually became indifferent to the various skills in cultivation. Because even if he mastered these skills, they took up a lot of time to utilize. Just like how he now had mastered second-rank talisman making, second-rank puppeteering, second-rank spirit slaughterer, and second-rank alchemy. But as a single person he simply couldn't afford to be distracted by so many tasks. As for passing them down to children and teaching future generations, skills like these were not easy to teach and took a lot of time. If it's wine brewing, let it be wine brewing then. At least it's still a second-grade skill. Besides, alcoholic beverages can be produced on an industrial assembly line. With this second-grade wine brewing skill, I can brew second-rank spirits for myself and also add a line of alcoholic drink production to the family enterprise. Lu Changxing thought for a moment, mulling over the idea. He then looked at the orb of light in the system space and used it on himself. Suddenly, a surge of knowledge flowed into his mind out of nowhere. Introduction to Wine Brewing, Basics of Wine Brewing Compendium, First Grade Wine Brewing Compendium, Second Grade Wine Brewing Compendium, Drink the strongest spirits, love the dearest ones, savor different wines, enjoy a refined life, after a long time. Knowledge about wine brewing poured into Lu Changxing's mind like a revelation, allowing him to fully grasp the processes of brewing, purifying, fermenting, and storing spiritual alcohols, among others. It's worthy of being a second-grade skill. Even though it's just a minor art in the 100 skills of cultivation, it's quite complex. Spirit fruit wine, spirit rice wine, spirit grain wine, spiritual medicine wine, special types of spiritual wines. Lu Changxing quietly digested the knowledge about wine brewing in his mind. He used to often drink Lu families by Lake Bamboo wine and White Jade 100 Flowers wine, so he had a fair understanding of wine brewing thanks to the fifth elder of the Lu family. But now, with the second-grade wine brewing skill, Lu Changxing realized how simple and crude the Lu family's previous wine brewing practice was. This wine brewing can actually be considered a branch of alchemy. Compared to elixir medicines, spiritual alcohols have the advantage of tasting good, suitable for entertaining guests and lightening the mood. And their effects are gentler than those of elixir medicines, practically non-toxic, without side effects, unlike elixir medicines that carry elixir toxicity, and too much consumption can even lead to immunity. Now with Zhixiao's health condition, she needs to be nursed gradually, harsh treatments can't be applied, so if I can brew and modulate a type of spiritual wine suitable for her, it might aid in her recovery. Lu Changxing pondered the possibilities in his mind, thinking as a second-tier top-level wine master, he could totally customize drinks according to Ling Xixiao's condition. This would certainly be a significant help to her recovery. Immediately, Lu Changxing considered Ling Xixiao's situation and organized his thoughts. He then took out writing materials and listed various spiritual medicines, materials and tools, instructing the Ji family to purchase them for him. Having learned from previous experiences, he naturally wouldn't wander recklessly anymore. For everything else he would have the Ji family beside him take care of it. And the Ji family was more than happy to undertake such tasks. Half a month later, after receiving a response from Hong Yi, Lu Changxing sent Lu Miaoge with Lu Pingan to Rui Prefecture to bring some of the Lu family disciples back to Bai Lake Mountain. Taking into account the safety issues and considering so many family disciples, Lu Changxing directly spent 3,000 spirit stones and also used a superior grade second-rank talisman as compensation to request the protection of a Foundation Establishment Escort Master from Heaven's Might Escort Agency. 2 Foundation Building Great Cultivators, 3 Energy Refinement Late-Stage Cultivators, and 1 Martial Arts Great Master escorted commoners the entire way, which was quite an extravagant measure. This gave Lu Changxing yet another reputation for being extravagant and opulent. However, Lu Changxing did this on purpose. Through this way, he revealed to the outside world that he had become a second-grade superior talisman master. And that in the Red Leaf Valley market, his own Peace Talisman Hall would add a superior grade talisman every 3 months. From Rui Prefecture to Bai Lake Mountain is not far. Taking a spirit boat, it's about a 4-day journey. This trip could be said to be very safe, as no danger or trouble was encountered. Faced with this situation, the escort master was very polite. He said that since they encountered no danger and the task was too simple, he refunded 2,000 spirit stones to Lu Changxing. Escort Master Lu, how could I accept this? Lu Changxing spoke out. Knowing that his family had a second-rank talisman master and a second-rank array master, the other party was using this gesture to foster good relations with him. Master Lu is too polite, we can do more business in this regard in the future. Lu Haijin appeared to be in his 40s, tall and strong, not only possessing foundation establishment cultivation but also a body cultivator. Those capable of opening an escort agency and being an escort guard generally have extraordinary combat abilities. Of course, in 1 month's time during my Lu family's clan establishment ceremony, if escort Master Lu is free, you're welcome to attend. Lu Changxing said politely. He knew that he would inevitably deal with such escort agencies in the future. After all, aside from himself and Lu Miaoge, the family currently lacked high-level combat power. In the future, there would be many occasions when outside business would require the use of escort guards. Good, Lu will certainly come to attend then. Lu Haijin spoke out. As escort guards tasked with protecting and escorting others, they naturally needed to prepare many life-saving measures. And talismans are one of the best choices for cultivators. Getting to know someone like Lu Changxing, a second-grade superior talisman master, and securing a stable source of talismans was a great opportunity for them. After seeing off Lu Haijin, Lu Changxing settled his wife and children. Although wives and children came on this trip, not many ultimately planned to settle in by Lake Mountain. Because many of the children grew up in Jianghu Mountain, they roughly knew about by Lake Mountain. Now accustomed to the prosperous outside world, having established families outside, many were unwilling to settle in by Lake Mountain. Or they felt that without spiritual roots, they would not fit in at by Lake Mountain. Faced with this situation, Lu Changxing had long been clear about it, so he let them make their own choices. One day Lu Changxing received a reply from Xianxia. She mentioned that it was also difficult for her to move an array master within Qingyun sect. To invite a second-tier top-level array master, Lu Changxing would have to use a Qingyun order to ask for someone. However, she stated that she could invite a first-grade top-level array master. If Lu Changxing needed, she could bring the person over when she came to attend the Lu family clan establishment ceremony in a while. Using a Qingyun order to request someone from Qingyun sect. Hearing this, Lu Changxing pondered in his heart. He wouldn't mind using a Qingyun order to invite an array master to come over and rearrange by Lake Mountain inside and out. But this Qingyun order was obtained by his loose cultivator identity Han Li. Once used, who knew if it would bring about more trouble? I'll wait for Shiyu to come over and then decide. Lu Changxing thought for a bit and replied to Xianxia. He planned to wait for the clan establishment ceremony and then decide when Xianxia arrived. At that time he could also ask Meng Yibai and Lady Meng about it and thank her master. As for the matter of the family guarding the site, it was not mentioned in the letter, probably because Xianxia had not yet received the letter he sent afterward. Lu Changxing wasn't in a hurry and decided to ask about everything at once. Chapter 635. Family Function. The Lu Family Genealogy. _1 Before my eyes, a month had passed. As the establishment ceremony of the Lu family of Blue Lake Mountain drew near, the whole of Blue Lake Mountain was bustling with activity. Many family powers sent representatives to observe the ceremony and offer congratulations. After all, Lu Changxing, the master of Blue Lake Mountain, had established the Lu family with his inheritance of the talisman path, having slain 3 foundation establishment great cultivators of the Yu family on his own, earning himself a formidable reputation. His Dao companion Ling Zixiao was an array master. Not long ago, when Lu Changxing visited the Qingyun sect, Ling Zixiao single-handedly killed the approaching Xiahou money. This news also shocked and stunned many of the surrounding family powers. The greatest deed Xiahou money had committed was annihilating Feng family fortress in one night, killing 2 foundation establishment ancestors. However, this terrifying Xiahou money had taken a tumble at Blue Lake Mountain, which was truly shocking. This spread the fame and prestige of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family far and wide. Wugong Ridge Zheng family ancestor has arrived. 100 Birds Lake by family ancestor has arrived. Qingzhou Mountain Lu family ancestor has arrived. On this day the establishment ceremony of the Lu family of Blue Lake Mountain officially began. At the mountain gate, Lu Pingon and his brothers welcomed the guests who arrived to partake in the Lu family's celebration. Ordinary loose cultivators and energy-refining family powers nearby were received by Lu Pingon and others, who guided them to their seats in the villa. The prominent foundation-building great cultivators were personally escorted by Lu Miaoge and seated in the grand hall. Qingyun sect, Zhao Qingqing has arrived. Qingyun sect, Han Lin has arrived. Qingyun sect, Xia Zhaoyang has arrived. At this moment, a few of Lu Changxing's good friends arrived. Hearing these voices, Lu Changxing personally went out to welcome them. Lu Daoist. brother-in-law. Daoist Zhao, Daoist Han Zhaoyang. Lu Changxing smiled and nodded, leading them to their seats. Many people in the hall were surprised to see this scene. They hadn't expected Lu Changxing to have so many friends in the Qingyun sect. Qingyun sect's Fairy Shiyu presents her congratulations to the establishment of the Lu family of Blue Lake Mountain. Just at that moment, a voice called out, shocking many of the smaller family forces who had arrived. Qingyun sect's Fairy Shiyu? Is it the Qingyun sect's Kaiyun True Immortal's high disciple, Xiao Shiyu, who has come to attend the Blue Lake Mountain's establishment ceremony? I never expected Ancestor Lu to have such connections with the Qingyun sect. I've heard that the Mountain Lord Lu not only possesses great destiny but also an unusual romantic charm. Could it be that he has a special relationship with Fairy Shiyu of the Qingyun sect as well? Hiss, we shouldn't speak recklessly. Hearing this commotion, the family powers were inwardly shocked, gaining a new understanding of the network of relationships of Blue Lake Mountain. After all, for them, even just having a bit of acquaintance with a foundation establishment disciple of the Qingyun sect was remarkable. And now, a high disciple of a nascent soul immortal was willing to attend the Blue Lake Mountain establishment ceremony. Fairy Shiyu. Inside the grand hall, when Lu Changxing heard of Xiao Shiyu's arrival, his face immediately revealed a smile, and he went outside to greet her. Lu Daoist. Clad in a moon-white dress, Xiao Shiyu resembled a nine-heavens bright moon, exuding a cool and noble aura that captured the attention of several people who wanted to greet her. Please take a seat, Fairy Shiyu. Their current relationship was not yet suitable for public disclosure. It was as ordinary as that of other guests. However, Ling Zixiao beside him couldn't help but take an extra glance at Xiao Shiyu. Little Wangsha's eyebrows and eyes, they bear a resemblance to Fairy Shiyu. Chu Jinjin too, was somewhat taken aback as she observed Xiao Shiyu. As time slowly ticked away and most of the guests had arrived, Lu Changxing saw that the auspicious time had come. He stood up with Ling Zixiao and Lu Miaoge, raised his cup and declared, I am honored by everyone's presence at the establishment ceremony of my Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Today I formally announce the Lu family of Blue Lake Mountain is established. Lu Changxing took a deep breath and spoke out loud. Congratulations, Lu Mountain Lord. As Qingzhou Mountain Lu family, we celebrate Blue Lake Mountain Lu family's establishment, wishing prosperity, and that one day it will rise to be a golden core family renowned throughout the southern wilderness. As Hundred Birds Lake by family we congratulate Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. As Small G Mountain G family we congratulate Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. As Wugong Ridge Jing family, we congratulate Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. All the attending guests and family powers raised their cups in congratulations to Lu Changxing upon hearing his announcement. At that moment suddenly a system notification rang out. Congratulations, host, the total number of your progeny has reached 100, a cultivation family is established, the family function is unlocked, and you receive the unique treasure Lu family genealogy. The family function, Lu family genealogy? Lu Changxing heard this system notification and was momentarily taken aback. He hadn't expected that aside from opening a system panel before, now that he had established his family and held a ceremony, he would unlock a family function and obtain a Lu family genealogy. He didn't look into these details and kept his expression unchanged as he drained the cup in one gulp. My fellow Taoists, I, Lu Changxing, hereby pledge that Blue Lake Mountain will adhere to an independent and peaceful foreign policy, and will always follow the path of peaceful development. We of Blue Lake Mountain Lu family are willing to join all major families and powers in creating a mutually beneficial and commonly prosperous future. Lu Changxing continued to speak. This establishment ceremony was not only a family founding ritual, but also a means to express his family's stance to outsiders, seeking sufficient partners for cooperation. We of Qingzhou Mountain wish to have an intimate relationship with Blue Lake Mountain and create a wonderful future together. We of Hundred Birds Lake by family wish to form an everlasting alliance with Blue Lake Mountain. We of Wugong Ridge Jing family wish to form an everlasting alliance with Blue Lake Mountain. Our family feels the same. Hearing this, the family powers one after another expressed their position. Chapter 636. Family Function, the Lu Family Genealogy. Having people to warm up the scene really does make things better. Lu Changxing watched Lu Yuanzhong and Bai Yunyang, who always made timely statements to set the tone and atmosphere, and nodded to himself in approval. He then chatted and drank with the cultivators in the Great Hall. During the process, he expressed that his family was now in a state of rebuilding and many tasks could not be undertaken due to the lack of manpower. Thus, many shops were subletting and several spirit stone mines required collaboration with others. Originally, Lu Changxing planned to slowly take over the properties under the name of the Yu family. But because of Xiahou Money's incident, most of the Yu family's people were taken away by the Qingyun sect, making a stable handover impossible. With such an abundance of properties, it was clear his own family's people couldn't manage them all. So after keeping some of the businesses, he sold and rented out the others to Qingzhou Mountain, Hundred Birds Lake and other families. This was seen as the Lu family's first friendly cooperation with outsiders. As for those shops and businesses, he planned to recover them when the children of the family were capable enough to hold their weight. Furthermore, in Lu Changsheng's view, controlling the four major industries of talisman making, alchemy, puppetry, and wine brewing was already sufficient. Expanding the market, engaging in foreign trade and sales issues could be fully carried out through cooperation with the surrounding families. Seeing Lu Changxing selling and leasing so many high-quality properties below market price, these families were very delighted to take on cooperation, expressing hopes to have more exchanges with his family in the future. Afterward, Lu Changxing publicly expressed that his family now had many children and that future generations should communicate more. Upon hearing this, many small families immediately stated that they had descendants who could interact with the Lu family disciples. The foundation-building family banquet held by Lu Changxing and Lu Xianxi's marriage to Su Qiaoer had caused much envy among many small family forces. Not only did they receive a substantial bride price, they also clung to the coattails of Lu Changxing, the master of Bai Lake Mountain. Given such an opportunity, they naturally did not want to miss it. Moreover, after getting to know him over time, the surrounding families knew that Lu Changxing was exceptional in treating his children. Previously, he had directly spent thousands of spirit stones and second-rank talismans to send away his non-spiritual root mortal children. The family establishment ceremony over, Lu Changxing held the wedding preparations. Back when he married Lu Miaoyan, he had promised Lu Lanshu, Lu Qing'er, Lu Zier, Chu Jinjin, and others that he would give them a grand wedding in the future. Now that the family was established, naturally, he would not forget these wives and concubines. After all, without a legitimate wife to bear his children for 10 months and raise them, he would not have reached his current status in just over 20 years. A virtuous wife supports my aspirations to soar, and I shall take her along as I ascend the clouds. Despite all of them being celebrated together, the wedding was extremely grand. It left all the guests and visitors deeply moved by the spectacle. They thought to themselves that Lu Changxing was indeed a man of deep sentiment and affection. Having become a foundation establishment great cultivator, he not only did not abandon his poor wife but also, once a son-in-law and a family son-in-law, now made up for the lack of a perfect wedding by rehosting it. Even the maids who were once bought by Lu Changxing were now given a status, becoming concubines. This gesture greatly moved many family forces and female cultivators. They considered whether or not they should offer themselves as concubines or maids to Lu Changxing. After all, not only was Lu Changxing a foundation establishment great cultivator and the master of Bai Lake Mountain, a second-ranked talisman master, but he was also strikingly handsome. Under such circumstances, still being so profoundly loyal and affectionate, he was simply the dream lover. The only flaw was that he might be a bit too amorous. But compared to his merits, this flaw seemed not so significant. Besides, for a dignified foundation establishment great cultivator, a second-ranked talisman master, having several wives and maids was quite normal, wasn't it? The next day, the family founding ceremony and the wedding ended, and the guests each returned to their homes. The whole Bai Lake Mountain suddenly became much quieter. Shiyu, rest assured, one day I will surely gain the approval of your master and go to Qingyun sect to ask for your hand in marriage, and well hold a grand Dao companion ceremony. After spending the wedding night, Lu Changxing immediately went to the courtyard where Xianxia lived and spoke out loud. Having rehosted a wedding for his wives and concubines the day before but unable to reveal his relationship with Xianxia had left him feeling very guilty. Proposing to the Qingyun sect, Xianxia's slightly cool face heard these words, her lips lightly pursed, her eyes softened, showing a bit of longing. Even though she cultivated the supreme forgetful love technique, witnessing Lu Changxing's wedding with his wives and concubines the day before, she couldn't help feeling a bit of desire. The thought of being legitimately together with Lu Changxing one day. But remembering her supreme forgetful love technique, the golden core path, she said softly, Changxing, there's no need for such efforts. Shiyu, this is my promise, rest assured, before you reach core formation I will surely find a perfect solution. Before Xianxia could finish speaking, Lu Changxing grasped her soft white hand and spoke firmly. Xiaoxia's core formation would take at least another 30 to 50 years. He believed that within this time he would certainly be able to address her situation. If all else fails, he would reach core formation before her and simply go to Qingyun sect to propose. With his extraordinary talent, once he achieved core formation he should be invincible at the same level, shouldn't he? By then he would not need to continue lying low in Jiang country and could afford to be a bit bolder. Changxing. Xiaoxia's heart fluttered, but before she could continue, Lu Changxing had already closed in. Shiyu, I've missed you. He pulled the graceful figure wrapped in the moon-white dress into his embrace, capturing the slightly parted laurel lips. Chapter 637. Family Function. The Lu family genealogy. The fairy's delicate body trembled slightly, she moaned softly, and then slowly closed her bright eyes, passionately responding. The usually aloof and noble nine heavens bright moon at this moment revealed a tenderness uniquely hers. Accompanied by slightly hurried breathing, Xiaoxia's dress became disheveled, her jade face blushed like dusk as she collapsed into Lu Changxing's arms. Shiyu's beauty remains as ever. Lu Changxing's hand wandered over her full and ample form, he softly said. With so many gentle wives and beautiful concubines at home, you still weren't satisfied last night, and now you take liberties with me as soon as you see me. Xiaoxia's face was flushed, her voice carried a hint of reproach, far from her usual fairy-like demeanor. If others from the banquet were to see such a scene, they would likely question their lives. My longing for Shiyu is beyond my control. Lu Changxing looked at the enchanting face of the fairy before him and said so. In his words, his hands deftly began to undo the fairy's dress. Not here, let's go to the room. Xiaoxia said in a slightly urgent voice. Immediately, Lu Changxing carried the fairy's jade form into the room, where the two expressed their yearning for each other. Afterward, Shiyu, about the matter of taking charge of Bai Lake Mountain, do you think the sect will agree? If it's possible, then we wouldn't need to be apart like this. Lu Changxing held Xiaoxia, her skin as icy and smooth as jade, gently wiping the fragrant sweat from her fair and slippery skin, and spoke in a gentle voice. I will visit the sect later. If my master agrees, then it should be possible. Xiaoxia gently pursed her lips and spoke softly. Compared to staying in Green River Marketplace, she naturally preferred to take charge here at Bai Lake Mountain. Not only would she be able to be with Lu Changxing, but she could also spend time with their daughter. Her past few interactions with her daughter lacked the close intimacy of a mother and child, which filled her with guilt. All right, there's no need to force things. After hearing this, Lu Changxing spoke softly, unwilling to make Xiaoxia uncomfortable. By the way, Shiyu, last time I went to Qingyun sect to handle registration and records. Lu Changxing spoke of the events he encountered during his previous visit to the Qingyun sect. Lady Meng, Xiaoxia heard this, her brows slightly furrowed, and she said softly, I've heard a little about it. I learned that Lady Meng was punished by my master to reflect in the Xianyin cave for 10 years. Sent to reflect in the Xianyin cave for 10 years? Lu Changxing was stunned when he heard this. He hadn't expected such a development to the incident. Kaiyun, true immortal for such a minor matter, had sent Lady Meng, a false core immortal, to reflect. I've only heard about it, but the specifics are unclear. But it seems that Lady Meng must suspect you. I guess it's because of the incident where you came to Green River Marketplace and then eliminated the Yu family's foundation establishment cultivators, which aroused Lady Meng's suspicions. Xiaoxia pondered slightly and expressed her thoughts. Yet she was puzzled as to why, for such a trivial matter, her master would punish Lady Meng with 10 years in the Xianyin cave. After all, the Xianyin cave was one of the Qingyun sect's 10 major punishments. Furthermore, as a false core immortal, even if Lady Meng violated the sect's rules, she would usually be assigned to a bitterly cold place to stand guard, not sent to reflect. Also, hearing from Lu Changxing that her master had inquired into the matter, she suspected that her master might also be aware of what had happened. That's possible. Lu Changxing nodded. He had suspected this before, thinking that apart from these reasons, he didn't know what else might cause Lady Meng to suspect him. Changxing, do you plan to use the Qingyun token to invite an array master from Qingyun sect to set up formations at Bai Lake Mountain? Xiaoxia asked out loud. That's right, I was planning to have Zishao do it, but because of the incident with Xiahou Money, Zishao was injured and won't be able to engage in formation-related matters for a while. Lu Changxing sighed. Although using the Qingyun token just to invite an array master seemed somewhat wasteful, the issue of the family's great formation couldn't remain unresolved forever. Changxing, give me the Qingyun token, and I will go to Qingyun sect on this trip to inquire for you about the array master. Xianxia said out loud. She felt that her master suspected that Lu Changxing had killed Meng Yibai, so she thought of taking the token to the Qingyun sect herself in order to subtly indicate to her master that Lu Changxing was the loose cultivator, Han Li. In this way, on account of Lu Changxing once saving her senior sister, maybe her master would not pursue the matter any further. Although she found her master's current response puzzling, she still intended to proceed this way. Okay, since that's the case, I'll trouble you with this, Xiyu, Lu Changxing said upon hearing her offer. The couple chatted casually and shared a tender moment, then dressed and left the yard, ready to visit their daughter. Chapter 638, Family Talent, True Spirit Immortality. _1 Changxing Xiyu, you've come. In the courtyard, Lu Miaoga had her hair pinned into a bun, wearing a snow-white dress. Her face was pretty and gentle, quietly watching Lu Wangshu eat with gusto. Seeing Lu Changxing and Xiaoxia arrive, a gentle smile appeared on her face. Sister Miaoga. Miaoga. Lu Changxing and Xiaoxia nodded slightly, then turned to look at Lu Wangshu. The little girl was holding a large bowl, scooping food earnestly with a small spoon. Her cheeks puffed out like a hamster's, chubby and incredibly cute. Is it that delicious? Upon seeing his daughter's blissfully happy face, Lu Changxing couldn't help but feel his appetite stir. Delicious, I'm eating now, don't disturb me, Lu Wangshu's muffled voice replied. Alright, take your time eating. Upon seeing this, Lu Changxing chuckled indulgently. He knew his daughter disliked talking or being disturbed while eating. Immediately, 3 foundation-building great cultivators watched Lu Wangshu eat with a serious face. After nearly finishing her meal, the little girl's eyes narrowed into a line, her face showing a content and adorable expression. She patted her little stomach and sweetly called out to Lu Changxing and Xiaoxia, Daddy, Mommy? Still remembering Daddy and Mommy, huh? Wangshu, Daddy is asking you if Daddy fell into Baishui Lake, would you first eat the Lotus 8 treasure rice, the white jade bun, or the jade dew lotus seed soup? Lu Changxing asked his daughter. After thinking for a moment, Lu Wangshu lifted her head and said, First eat the jade dew lotus seed soup. Then what would you do if Daddy fell into Baishui Lake? Lu Changxing teased his daughter. Lu Wangshu tilted her head to look at her naively serious father and said, Aren't you still here? How could you fall into the lake? Daddy is saying if Daddy fell into the lake, would you save Daddy? Lu Changxing continued to inquire. I wouldn't. Lu Wangshu cutely laid her little head on the table, speaking candidly. Why not? Lu Changxing urged further. Because Daddy, you can fly on your own and I'm too small, I couldn't save you. Lu Wangshu's voice carried a hint of disdain. My Wangshu is so smart. Daddy can fly and Wangshu is so small, such a savior. Xiaoxia, next to her, had a face full of motherly adoration, rubbed her daughter's little head and said happily. He, Mommy, let's go fishing, Lu Wangshu said cheerfully to Xiaoxia. Having gone fishing with Lu Changxing a few times, she had fallen in love with fishing and insisted on riding the cold blue dark turtle to fish in Baishui Lake every day. But due to the grand ceremonies these past few days, nobody had accompanied her. Wangshu can fish now? Xiaoxia was somewhat surprised to hear this. She didn't expect her daughter to have learned fishing at just 5 years old. Could it be that Lu Wangshu was still so little that the fish in Baishui Lake could pull her into the water, could they? I'm super good at fishing. Not like Daddy who can't catch any fish. Lu Wangshu declared with her head held up high. How can you talk like that, Daddy? I was just not being serious. Lu Changxing, hearing this, immediately felt indignant. Nye, Lu Wangshu made a cheeky face, giggling. I had prepared some candied hawthorns for you, but now you're not getting any. Lu Changxing snorted lightly as he spoke. I knew Daddy was the best, the most doting on me. Lu Wangshu immediately propped up her chin with both hands, looking adorably earnest. Lu Changxing snorted lightly again. Daddy, please, you're the best, Daddy, Lu Wangshu cooed sweetly. You've just had a full meal, you can't eat more. Lu Changxing, listening to the coquettish pleading, laughed and said, No, please, Lu Wangshu hopped off the chair and clung to Lu Changxing's legs, continuing to act coquettishly. Such a grown-up, yet still acting like a child. Xiaoxia watched the scene unfold, showing fake anger at Lu Changxing, signaling him to give his daughter the candied hawthorns. Alright, you really are a little foodie, but there's only one skewer. Lu Changxing took out a food box from his storage bag, opened it in front of Lu Wangshu, making the little girl drool in anticipation. He took out a skewer of candied hawthorns for his daughter. Then he took out another skewer for Lu Miaoga and Xianxia. The two women couldn't help but smile warmly when they saw they were also included. Still smiling, they each took a candied hawthorn and tasted it. Mommy, can I try the one you have, please? After licking her own for a bit, Lu Wangshu looked at Xianxia and Lu Miaoga with hopeful eyes. Haven't you tasted that already? Lu Changxing, eyeing his daughter's foodie antics, said in a tone lacking enthusiasm. But I haven't tried 3 flavors at the same time. Lu Wangshu declared with righteous zeal. Upon hearing this, both women couldn't help but laugh gently. They let their daughter taste their own candied hawthorns. After tasting them, Lu Wangshu smacked her lips and revealed a satisfied expression. Then she offered her own candied hawthorn to the two women, saying, Mommy. So sweet. Xiaoxia took a simple bite and responded with fondness in her eyes. Mommy, let me take you to see the little turtle Daddy gave me. After finishing the candied hawthorns, Lu Wangshu pulled Xiaoxia to the backyard pond to see the cold blue dark turtle. Hee. Lu Changxing watched this scene with a smile full of joy on his face. Then, seeing Lu Miaoga beside him deep in thought with longing in her eyes, he knew she was missing Lu Qingzhu. He immediately took hold of Lu Miaoga's hand, speaking gently, Sister Miaoga, in a few years, once things have settled down, we'll visit Qingshan and Qingzhou at Jianghu sect in Yu country. Originally, he had planned that in a few years, once the family situation was stable, they would head to Jianghu sect in Yu country to visit their children. Chapter 639, Family Talent, True Spirit Immortality. But now, he couldn't leave for a distant journey with the Xiaohou money affair unresolved, the great formation of the family unfinished, and the Mount Sumeru tree king not planted. Lu Miaoga came back to her senses and responded softly. More than a year had passed, and she indeed missed her daughter a little. She wondered how Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhou were doing at the Jianghu sect. But she also knew that given the current situation, she and Lu Changxing really didn't have the time to go out. Little ice charge. It wasn't long before Lu Wangshu, carrying a fish basket on his back and holding a fishing rod, came out slowly from the backyard, seated on the shell of the cold blue dark turtle. Xiaoxiu stood by, her face filled with an indulgent smile. Apart from Lu Changxing, only Lu Wangshu could make this cold and noble fairy show such an expression all the time. Daddy, Mommy, are you going fishing? Lu Wangshu sat cross-legged on the turtle shell and shouted loudly to Lu Changxing and Lu Miaoga. Hee, Daddy still has some things to do. You go with Mommy first and Daddy will come later. Lu Changxing said with a chuckle. The family function opened by the system and the Lu family tree, which he had been too busy to study until now, he prepared to take a look at it now. Mommy also has some things to do, Lu Miaoga said softly. Since Xiaoxiu was accompanying her daughter, she naturally did not want to be around. Well, okay then, Lu Wangshu's little face showed a hint of disappointment, then pointing toward the direction of Baishui Lake, he said to Xiaoxiu, Mommy, fly. All right, Xiaoxiu said with an indulgent laughter, then with a lift of her hand. Suddenly the cold blue dark turtle and Lu Wangshu flew up, heading toward Baishui Lake. Xiyu also only shows such an expression when facing Wangshu. Lu Miaoga said with a light laugh as she watched Xiaoxiu leave. Although her relationship with Xiaoxiu was good, this was because they were connected by Lu Wangshu. If she met with Xiaoxiu alone, the latter's cool and distant temperament, like that of the 9 heavens bright moon, really kept people at a distance. It also made her couldn't help but feel amazed that Lu Changxing was actually able to move such a fairy. Xiyu rarely sees Wangshu, so she acts more affectionately when she does. But Wangshu is smart and sensible and also very lovable, Lu Changxing said aloud. This daughter, although a little mischievous, was in his view still lively, cute, and likable. This year the family should hold the spiritual root testing ceremony, right? Wangshu will be able to participate by then, Lu Miaoga said aloud. Places like Qingzhou Mountain would hold a spiritual root testing ceremony every year to test the spiritual roots of 5 or 6-year-old children. Naturally, Bai Lake Mountain would be no exception. Once we finish the busier things later, we'll pick a good day for the spiritual root testing ceremony. Lu Changxing nodded and said. Although he was already aware of the spiritual roots of his children, the sense of ceremony was still necessary. Moreover, this year both his son Lu Qingxian and his daughter Lu Wangshu could have their spiritual roots tested. By then, the revelation of both having 4th grade spiritual roots would also be a joyful and encouraging event for Bai Lake Mountain. After chatting with Lu Miaoge for a while about family and clan matters, the two headed to Baiyun Peak Changxing Hall. Ling Zixiao was resting within the hall, and Lu Miaoge went into her cave dwelling to nourish Ling Zixio's body with Tai True water. Meanwhile, Lu Changxing went into his own talisman room. System. Lu Changxing silently called out. Name, Lu Changxing. Identity, Master of Bai Lake Mountain, Cultivation level, Foundation Establishment 4th level, Lifespan, 41/279, Talent, 4th grade Spiritual Root, Gingjin Body Constitution, Medium Spiritual Body, Blood Talisman Spiritual Body, High Grade Spiritual Body, Cultivation Techniques, 100 Refinements Treasure Body Technique, 7 Luminaries Great Freedom Sword Scripture, Yin Yang Harmony Technique, 99 Mystical Talisman Scripture, Immortal Beauty Technique, Tai Xing Shueju, Spells, 7 Luminary Sword Light, 7 Luminary Sword Shield, 7 Luminary Sword Escape, Items. Lu Family Tree Melting Spirit Pill, Spiritual Eye Spring, Profound Origin Bead, Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, Luminous Treasure Tree Golden Armor Bean Mother Life Substituting Talisman, Coagulation Crystal Elixir. Magical Treasures, 9 Treasure Jade Rui, Black Dragon Magical Bead, 100 Steeds Towering Pagoda Lock. Skills, Alchemy 2nd rank, Talisman Making 2nd rank, Puppetry 2nd rank, Spirit Slaughterer 2nd rank, Wine Brewing 2nd rank. Spiritual Pets, Mount Sumeru Tree King 9 Netherhound 6-Winged Golden Silkworm, Cold Blue Dark Turtle, Peach Blossom Goo, Bloodline Effect. Offspring Spiritual Root Probability plus 25%, Progeny plus 10%. Family, 226. The family. Lu Changxing saw the system interface, where the previous offspring slot disappeared. But a new family tab appeared. His mind moved slightly and he opened the family interface. Suddenly, the entire network of relations of his own family surfaced. At the top was himself, then his wife and concubines. The children born to him and these wives and concubines. And then the children who had already set up their own families and had children of their own continued to be lined up below. To date, he himself, 7 wives, 2 Dao companions, 43 concubines, 155 children, 10 daughters-in-law, and 8 grandchildren of the Xian generation totaled 226 people. So I can check information like before with my offspring as long as they are from my Lu family? Lu Changxing looked at the family web before him, his mind stirred and he looked towards Lu Miaoge. Name, Lu Miaoge, Lifespan, 49/261, Talent, 5th grade Spiritual Root, Cultivation level, Foundation Establishment 1st level, Talent Match, Talisman Making 56%, Talent Match. Lu Changxing looked at this prompt, somewhat surprised. The next moment he understood what this talent match was all about. It was a system suggestion for the best direction of growth for each person. Everyone's talent was different. Some people were suited for business management, some for alchemy and talisman making, others for artifact refining and formations. The system would give a suggestion based on the current situation of the family members, to tell him the optimal direction for their growth. Chapter 640, Family Talent, True Spirit Immortality. Like Lu Miaoge, a talisman making affinity of 56% suggests she is suited for the talisman path. Then Lu Changxing looked at the talents of the others. Name, Lu Miaoyun, Lifespan, 37/99, Talent, 7th grade Spiritual Root, Cultivation level, 6th level of Qi Refinement, Talent, Management Affinity 42%. This talent can grow through acquired practice. In recent years, Yuner has been managing the family's household affairs, keeping the back courtyard well organized, which is why she has talent in management. Lu Changxing muttered to himself as he looked at Lu Miao's interface. That means Zixiao is meant for formation. Lu Changxing opened Ling Zixio's interface to take a look. Name, Ling Zixiao, Lifespan, 42/69, Talent, 3rd grade Spiritual Root, Dragon Roar Physique, Top level Spiritual Body, Cultivation level, 1st grade of Foundation Establishment, Talent, Formation Affinity 81%. Formation Affinity 81%. But Zixiao's lifespan is only 69 years. Lu Changxing paused as he saw Ling Zixio's lifespan and was inwardly startled. He knew that Ling Zixio's physical condition wasn't great. But he had been completely unaware that Ling Zixio's lifespan was so short. This lifespan was judged based on Ling Zixio's current condition. With their help and Lu Miaoge's treatment, Once Ling Zixio's body recovers, having a foundation establishment cultivation, she should have a lifespan of at least 100 and 200 years. However, Ling Zixio's talent made him click his tongue in wonder. Third grade spiritual root. Top-level spiritual body. Were it not for the fact that the dragon roar physique is only beneficial for men and not suitable for women, with Ling Zixio's third-grade spiritual root, top-level spiritual body, and talent and formation path, her future would surely lead to core formation and becoming a significant figure. With this talent I can completely tailor my teachings to Pingan, Xianxia, and the rest, making arrangements based on their innate abilities. Lu Changxing became distinctly aware of this talent's greatest help to his family. With a slight movement of his mental spirit, he turned to look at his son Lu Pingan's panel. Name, Lu Pingan. Lifespan, 22/91, talent, 5th grade spiritual root, cultivation level, 1st level of Qi refinement, talent, body refinement affinity 44%. Body refinement affinity 44%. Is Pingan really suited for body refinement? Is it genuinely a talent of his, or is it due to his many years of martial arts training? Lu Changxing gazed at his son Lu Pingan's talent with a sense of surprise and skepticism. He had previously thought of passing on the 100 refinements treasure body art to this son. Now, seeing that Lu Pingan truly had a talent in this area made him feel very pleased. He then turned to look at his son Lu Xianxia. Name, Lu Xianxia, lifespan, 21/99, talent, 9th grade spiritual root, cultivation level, 4th level of Qi refinement, talent, puppet affinity 27%. The highest puppet affinity is only 27%? Seeing his son Lu Xianxi's talent, Lu Changxing frowned slightly. He hadn't expected Lu Xianxi's talent to be so poor. But considering that his son Lu Xianxia had been immersed in his teachings from a young age and had been taught for many years, yet still remained a first-grade low-level puppet master. To say he has put in effort, Lu Xianxia has indeed tried hard and devoted a lot of thought to it. Ah well, there aren't that many geniuses after all, Lu Changxing sighed slightly. He realized that sometimes, the gap between people is even wider than the gap between humans and baboons. If effort were enough, what would be the point of talent? After a general look at the other children's talents, aside from a few exceptions, most of the talents were quite ordinary within 30%. However, with this insight into their talents, at least he now had a clear direction for development. Name, Lu Wangshu, lifespan, April 89, talent, 4th grade spiritual root, blood talisman spiritual body, superior spiritual body, cultivation level, none, talent, fishing affinity 30%, fishing? And even 30%. As Lu Changxing looked at his daughter Lu Wangshu's talent, he was stunned and somewhat bewildered. As a blood talisman spiritual body, shouldn't she have an exceptional talent for talisman making? Yet she possesses such an ability in fishing. But the next moment he remembered that his daughter's blood talisman spiritual body had not yet awakened. Once her blood talisman spiritual body awakens, this area of talent is likely to substantially improve. After briefly reviewing his children's talents, Lu Changxing turned his attention to the system space. Inside, besides the coagulation crystal elixirs, spirit pills, luminous treasure tree, Mount Sumeru Tree King 100 Steeds towering pagoda lock, and the spiritual eye spring that he had placed there was also a new jade scroll. Lu family genealogy. Description: unique supreme treasure, bound to the host Lu Changxing. Such a succinct description. Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow at the Lu family genealogy. He then took out the Lu family genealogy. Immediately, a jade scroll appeared in his hand. Simultaneously, information related to the Lu family genealogy flowed into his mind, making him understand the effects of the genealogy. This? Lu Changxing's eyes widened as he looked at the Lu family genealogy in his hands, full of surprise and disbelief. The Lu family genealogy had 3 functions. First, the genealogy can reveal whether a family member has died. Second, the genealogy can sense if a family member has betrayed the family. Third, to be named in the genealogy is to have true spirit immortality. Chapter 641, The First Guest Elder Offering. _1 Lu Changxing looked at the family records of the Lu family in his hands, his expression one of surprise and joy. The 3 effects of this clan record are undeniably powerful. The first effect allows one to check the life and death status of family members. Most cultivation families prepare soul lamps or life-bound tokens for their members to indicate fortune and life or death. But even the cheapest life-bound jade token is worth thousands of spirit stones. It's manageable to prepare just a few. But to prepare one for every member of the family would amount to a huge sum of money. With the Lu family records, Lu Changxing doesn't need any soul plates or soul lamps to know the fortune and life or death of family members. The second effect is that the family records will respond if a family member commits an act of harm or betrayal against the family. This effect can perfectly prevent the core of the family from having spies or traitors. After all, it's impossible to prevent spies from infiltrating or traitors from emerging in a large family. Especially now, as the family is just getting established and children are starting their own families, it's very easy for this to happen. With the Lu family records, it's possible to avoid this situation from the outset, ensuring internal stability and forestalling problems. As for the third effect, registered in the clan record, true spirit immortality, it is simply defying the heavens. As long as Lu Changxing does not die and the family records are not destroyed, even if family members encounter an irreversible calamity outside and their spirit and body are both destroyed, a bit of their true spirit can still be retained through the family records. Once Lu Changxing achieves immortal status, he can use the sacrificial ceremony with heaven and earth's treasures to resurrect the deceased. However, such a thing as resurrecting the dead, akin to changing heaven and earth, reversing the universe, has extremely stringent requirements, with achieving immortality being only the first step. So for now, this effect of resurrecting the dead doesn't need to be considered by Lu Changxing. But the existence of this effect has given Lu Changxing some peace of mind. Having cultivated for so many years, he was all too aware that even with the system by his side, he could not achieve perfection on the path to immortality. His mortal wives and children at home he simply couldn't take care of. Even many of his wives and children with spiritual roots, he couldn't look after properly. In the future, many of his wives and children will gradually leave him, leaving regrets on his path to immortality. Now, with these Lu family records, at least he has some solace. When he reaches a certain level of cultivation and achieves immortality, he'd be able to remedy these regrets and resurrect those he can't bear to part with. This is also one of my motivations for cultivating, he murmured. Lu Changxing looked at the clan record in his hands, let out a soft chuckle and put away the Lu family records. According to customary practice, records like the family records would be housed in the ancestral hall. But considering he was the first entry in the family records, if these were enshrined in the ancestral hall, wouldn't that be oddly self-serving? Perhaps I should enshrine the 3 purities in the ancestral hall instead. That might just attract some serendipitous fate from the unfathomable universe, he thought. Lu Changxing stroked his chin. After these thoughts, he broke into a grin, cast aside these matters, and walked out of the talisman room to the main hall to visit Lu Miaoge and Ling Zixiao. Once Lu Miaoge had finished treating Ling Zixiao, Lu Changxing chatted with the 2 women about family affairs and made some preliminary arrangements. Nowadays there were quite a few children in the family. There were also many of age with spiritual roots. With the recently acquired family features, he could see his children's abilities. Thus, Lu Changxing planned to get education started herein by Lake Mountain. First setting up a school to teach knowledge of formations, alchemy, talisman making, puppets, wine brewing, farming, medical cuisine, spirit slaughterer, business management, and so on. Later, based on the children's interests and talents, he would teach them according to their aptitude and make arrangements. As for artifact refining, beast taming, goo, poisonous insects, spirit detection and others, Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao could also obtain some relevant inheritances. If the children were interested, they could do some self-study. If they could achieve something on their own, that would be best. If not, they could just view it as a hobby. Once their own capabilities were sufficient, they would eventually fill in all aspects of cultivation, so that every child could combine their interests and talents, avoiding detours. After discussing these broad ideas with the women, Lu Changxing took Ling Zixiao, Lu Miaoge, and several children to Baishui Lake for a leisurely visit to relax. At that time, many fishermen were fishing in Baishui Lake. Xiao Shiyu, accompanied by her daughter Lu Wangshu, was fishing with a face full of joy. Whenever Lu Wangshu caught a fish, Xiao Shiyu would burst into encouragement and joy as if she were just a child. It seems that Fairy Shiyu is Lu Wangshu's mother, Ling Zixiao mused to herself upon seeing this scene. She had suspected as much from the first glance she took at Xiao Shiyu, noticing a resemblance to Lu Wangshu, and now this scene almost certainly confirmed it. Upon this realization, she just stole a glance at Lu Changxing. Curiosity filled her as she wondered how many women like Xiao Shiyu Lu Changxing had outside. Shiyu. After spending half an hour playing around, Lu Changxing secretly communicated with Xiao Shiyu, mentioning the get-together with Hong Yi, Han Lin, Zhao Qingqing and the others. Little Wangshu, mommy has something to take care of, he'll come to play with you later, Xiao Shiyu said to Lu Wangshu, somewhat reluctantly letting go. Mommy, don't worry, it'll be good. Lu Wangshu, sitting cross-legged on the cold blue dark turtle, fishing rod in hand, as absorbed in fishing as ever, did not seem the least bit reluctant as she sweetly reassured Xiao Shiyu and continued with her fishing. Shortly after, Xiao Shiyu and Lu Changxing made their way to the main reception hall of Biyun Villa. Before long, all 6 immortal seedlings that had originally come from Rui Prefecture, except for Li Feiyu, gathered once again. Compared to the assemblage a decade ago at the Gathering of Immortals Tower in Rui Prefecture, the 5 of them had all changed significantly. Chapter 642, The First Guest Elder Offering. 10 years ago, Xianxia was at the 9th level energy refinement stage. Now she has broken through to foundation establishment, becoming a core disciple of the Qingyun sect. 10 years ago, Lu Changxing was merely a son-in-law to the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain. Now he has broken through to foundation establishment, becoming a mountain master himself. In 10 years' time, Hong Yi advanced from the heir to the Marquis of Rui to the Marquis himself, controlling Rui Prefecture. Han Lin ascended from a lower-grade artifact refiner to an upper-grade one. Because of her vague body, Zhao Qingqing transitioned from being a pharmacist to a spirit plant master. Now she has become a second-rank spiritual plant master. My friends, if my memory serves me right, it has been exactly 23 years since we first met. Lu Changxing said, looking at the 5 people before him. Among the 5, he, Xiaoxia, and Zhao Qingqing all maintained their youthful appearance, with only changes in their demeanor. But for Hong Yi and Han Lin, both their appearances and auras had gone through significant changes. Especially Hong Yi, wearing a purple gold crown and brocade robe, sporting a long beard, his features bearing a mature and dignified air. Indeed, exactly 23 years. Hong Yi stroked his beard and nodded in agreement. His voice was filled with sentiment. Thinking back to their initial meeting, he was proud and conceited because of his noble birth, looking down on others. But now, among the 5 of them, he was the least accomplished. His position as the Marquis of Rui was maintained thanks to his relationship with Lu Changxing. Otherwise, it would have been extremely difficult for him to become the heir and succeed the Marquis of Rui's position back then. It's been 23 years before we knew it. It's a pity that Li Daoist isn't here. Over these 20 years, the most splendid tales are still those of Lu Daoist and Hong Daoist. The 5 of them looked at each other and laughed, feeling nostalgic for the swift passage of time, engaging in idle chatter and reminiscing about old times. Brother Hong, I plan to let Xuanzhen stay at home and study calmly for the next few years. If you're willing, you can let Xuanji stay at Bai Lake Mountain temporarily. Upon hearing Hong Yi mention his son Hong Xuanji, Lu Changxing spoke up. Hong Xuanji was Hong Yi's most cherished son, upon whom he placed great hopes. He prepared to send him to the Qingyun sect in 2 years' time, when they would be recruiting disciples, to participate in the Immortal sect's assessment. Now that Hong Yi was discussing his son's arrangements, Lu Changxing was also willing to help take care of him. After all, Hong Yi had helped him a lot over the past 20 years, and it was only right for him to return the favor. In that case, it'll trouble you with Xuanji, brother Lu. Hong Yi, upon hearing this, immediately showed delight and thanked him with a bow. If his son could cultivate at Bai Lake Mountain, it would surely be better than doing so in the Rui Prefecture or a small marketplace. Furthermore, he knew that Lu Changxing was recruiting spiritual farmers and fishermen with spiritual roots, teaching them the skills of spiritual plant cultivation, talisman making and puppetry. Thus, he was more than happy to let his son stay here and develop a good relationship with Lu Changxing's children. If his son did not pass the Qingyun sect assessment in 2 years, he could still mingle with the Lu family. That way, this son's future achievements were likely to surpass his own. Haha, brother Hong, you are too polite. Lu Changxing laughed and nodded. Taoist Lu, didn't you say you would show us your family's spiritual medicine garden? Since we have time now, why don't we take a look? And it would be nice to stroll around by Lake Mountain while we're at it. At that moment, Zhao Qingqing voiced her suggestion. Previously, while chatting at the Qingyun sect, Lu Changxing had expressed hope for her to take a look at his family's spiritual medicine valley and provide some planting advice. She brought over many spirit plant seeds as gifts to celebrate the occasion on this visit. But specific recommendations and planting would require a look at the situation for a final verdict. In that case, Fairy Shiyu, brother Hong, Daoist Han, shall we all take a stroll together? Lu Changxing suggested cheerily upon hearing her proposal. Haha, sure. I'd like to admire the beauty of By Lake Mountain too. The group nodded in agreement. Immediately thereafter, Lu Changxing took them on a tour around By Lake Mountain, explaining the features before arriving at Lingzue Cliff. Mountain Master. Greetings to the Mountain Master. Dad, Uncle Han, Aunt Xiao. Lingzue Cliff was inhabited by some spiritual farmers from other families left by the Yu family. Lu Pinggan was also assigned by Lu Changxing to guard the spiritual medicine garden at Lingzue Cliff. We have come to take a look. Lu Changxing nodded and spoke. The spiritual medicine garden still looked the same as before. It had only some common spirit plants and unripe spiritual medicines. Daoist Zhao, this is the Lingzue Cliff of By Lake Mountain. This area is primarily used for spirit fields, and this part is the medicine garden. Lu Changxing led the group through Lingzue Cliff, casually conversing and explaining. As a second-ranked talisman master, Daoist Lu, you will likely focus on developing in this area in the future. Based on the spirit vein and soil conditions of By Lake Mountain, I suggest planting some water cloud bamboo. As for the second-ranked medicine fields, you could consider transforming dragon ginseng, pale face flower, stone dragon root. These spiritual medicines are quite suitable for cultivation, and once they reach a certain age, they can be sold for a considerable value. Zhao Qingqing observed the spirit fields, soil and spiritual energy conditions, speaking out loud. In her words, she also moved aside, applying techniques to test the soil composition and the concentration of spiritual energy in the fields. Ordinary spiritual farmers only need to learn one of the techniques such as minor cloud rain technique, Gingjin technique, decomposition technique, quickening technique, spring wind turns to rain technique, and so on. But to become a spiritual plant master, one must be proficient in multiple techniques. And to advance from a spiritual plant master to a spiritual plant master, one not only needs to master a variety of techniques but also understand and control the conditions of various spirit plants and spiritual medicines. Water cloud bamboo, Lu Changxing noted, nodding. He was aware that this was a type of spiritual bamboo, suitable for making talisman paper. As for transforming dragon ginseng, pale face flower, and stone dragon root, they were all materials for the foundation establishment elixir and youth preserving elixir, each very valuable. Chapter 643, The First Guest Elder Offering. A few people were strolling around Lingzue Cliff, and Zhao Qingqing gave many suggestions. She also told Lu Changxing about the cultivation methods of several spirit plants and what to pay attention to. I didn't expect the path of spirit plant cultivation to have so many intricacies. It is truly an eye-opener. Hong Yi, who was standing by, exclaimed with emotion. In his Rui Marquis mansion, there were also dozens of acres of spiritual fields. But these were the most ordinary spiritual fields, only suitable for cultivating first-grade inferior products, not even the average spirit rice. Now that he heard about the intricate knowledge involved, he was filled with emotion. Indeed, each of the 100 arts of cultivation is broad and profound, Lu Changxing nodded and said. Through the system, he clearly understood the profoundness of each of the 100 arts of cultivation. After they finished their stroll, Lu Changxing turned to Zhao Qingqing and said, Daoist Zhao, would you be interested in serving as a guest elder at By Lake Mountain? A guest elder? Zhao Qingqing paused upon hearing this, her face showing contemplation. The Qingyun sect did not forbid its disciples from earning extra money outside. After all, money, companions, laws, and the earth itself, cultivation is all about burning money. The Qingyun sect could not support all the disciples. Disciples like them had to find their own ways to earn resources for cultivation. However, they could not casually agree to serve as guest priests without considering whether it will bring them trouble. Daoist Zhao, as you know, the establishment of my family was quite rushed, and we are not particularly good at the art of spirit plant cultivation. Therefore, if you are willing, you could come to By Lake Mountain to serve as a guest elder. Whenever you have time, just come and check on the spirit plants, the condition of the spiritual medicine, or perhaps offer some guidance and teach some knowledge about spirit plant cultivation, said Lu Changxing in this manner. By Lake Mountain currently had many spirit plant cultivators, but they were all first grade. If they could invite Zhao Qingqing, a second-rank spiritual plant master, it would be of great help to the cultivation of spirit plants at By Lake Mountain. Moreover, when he planted the luminous treasure tree in the future, having Zhao Qingqing, a spiritual plant master, would also be a great help. This is possible, but I don't have much time. I can only serve as a guest priest and visit a few times a year, Zhao Qingqing said. As a disciple of the Qingyun sect's medicinal garden, She also had many affairs of her own and could not often go out. That is already sufficient, Lu Changxing nodded and said with a smile. He then invited Zhao Qingqing to serve as an honorary guest elder at Bai Lake Mountain for a yearly salary of 1,200 spirit stones. She would need to visit 4 times a year to provide advice and solutions for Bai Lake Mountain spirit plants and spiritual medicine and to teach and guide the Lu family disciples in the area of spirit plant cultivation. Afterwards, Lu Changxing turned to Han Lin, asking him if he was interested in serving as a guest elder at his Bai Lake Mountain. Speaking of spirit plant cultivators, his family had some. But they had no artifact refiners at all. He'll pass, I'm already busy in the Qingyun sect and besides, artifact refining is very time-consuming, and teaching it is also quite time-consuming, Han Lin said shaking his head. As an artifact refiner, unlike Zhao Qingqing, he couldn't just come down the mountain for a few days. Artifact refining requires on-the-spot teaching, which is very cumbersome and time-consuming. Moreover, as an artifact refiner, his income from Qingyun sect was quite good. Alright, if I have such problems in the future or need magic artifacts, I might trouble Daoist Han even more, Lu Changxing didn't mind and said with a laugh. Of course that's no problem, Han Lin replied. Later, Lu Changxing invited them to stay a few more days at Bai Lake Mountain, and when they left he gave them small parting gifts. Xianxia also returned to Qingyun sect with Zhao Qingqing and Han Lin. She was preparing to return and request her master, Yun Wanshang, to come and preside over Bai Lake Mountain. At the same time, using the Qingyun token, she would invite a second-rank array master from Qingyun sect for Lu Changxing. Husband, this is the current expenditure and rough income of the family, please take a look. That day Lu Miaoyun came to Lu Changxing with a ledger in hand for his review. It recorded all the current expenses of Bai Lake Mountain and the rough estimate of its income. The difference between income and expenses is this much? Lu Changxing looked at the ledger in surprise. But after looking through it, he immediately understood why there was such a significant disparity. Previously on Qingzhou Mountain, the allowance for his wives and concubines was quite modest. Only concubines with a spiritual root were given 10 spirit stones. As for maids, they were only given 2 spirit stones. Now, not only had all the maids been elevated to the status of concubine, but their treatment had been uniformly improved as well. Furthermore, as the number of children in the family increased and they began cultivation, each would receive 10 spirit stones and a bottle of yellow dragon elixir every month. As cultivation levels improved, these benefits were also being enhanced. There were also the expenses of providing spirit rice to his secular children, among others. Each of these seemed minor by themselves, but when accumulated, they added up to no small sum. And the entire family's income currently depended solely on the foundational earnings of Bai Lake Mountain. Bai Lake Mountain originally had a considerable income. Otherwise, the Yu family wouldn't have been able to raise so many foundation establishment cultivators and clanspeople. But currently, due to staffing issues, the external industries had halted operations. During the establishment ceremony of the family, Lu Changxing had also sold off many assets. So now the income of Bai Lake Mountain was limited to rent, and the industries of spirit rice and spirit fish. Yuner, you don't have to worry about the finances for now. You continue to recruit spiritual farmers, fishermen, and apprentices. Pay close attention to the spiritual fields, jade marrow rice and azure water rice. The core cultivation methods for these were originally controlled by the Yu family. Now these spiritual farmers might be inexperienced and affect the harvest. The same goes for the breeding of spirit fish. Lu Changxing voiced these instructions. He presently had enough spirit stones to sustain the Lu family's losses for several decades. But running at a loss was not a sustainable strategy, relying solely on oneself to support the family. After all, he also needed to spend money. Thus, it was imperative for the family to operate efficiently, achieving a balance between income and expenses, and gradually move towards profitability. In Lu Changxing's view, the problem still lay with manpower. As long as there was sufficient manpower, he could easily proceed with large-scale production of basic puppets and liquor factories. Then, by finding partners for consignment sales and opening up channels, he could revitalize the shops and industries under Bai Lake Mountain. All right, husband, Lu Miaoyun nodded in response to his words. By the way, Yuner. Lu Changxing continued, speaking about the instruction at the school. He tasked her with organizing and arranging these matters. He indicated that not only the children in the family but also the concubines with spiritual roots could come to learn about this aspect. After arranging these matters, Lu Changxing went to Changxing Hall to quietly refine the 9 treasure jade rui within his chest bone. His recent encounter with Kaiyun True Immortal at Qingyun sect had given him a wake-up call. He felt that relying solely on the jade pendant given by the core formation junior was not necessarily enough to conceal others' prying eyes. Therefore he thought of quickly integrating this heaven-sent spiritual treasure into his life-bound treasured bone. As soon as the life-bound treasured bone was formed and he acquired the 9 great divine abilities, he would be able to use the 7th divine ability, Sealing Divine Light, to seal his cultivation level and aura, rendering himself undetectable and obscuring his true capabilities from others. Moreover, the 5th divine ability of the 9 treasure Jade Rui, the Healing Divine Light, would surely help with Ling Zixio's injuries. And regarding the matter of Xiaohu money, he also needed to be prepared. Once the life-bound treasured bone was formed and the 9 great divine abilities were his power would rise to an entirely new level. Chapter 644. Yun Wanshang, don't let your senior sister know about Han Li _1 Qingyun sect. Kaiyun Peak. Master. Xianxia came to the palace hall at the peak and bowed respectfully. Shiyu, is there something that brings you back this time? The doors of the hall thunderously opened, and a clear yet gentle voice rang out. Master, I've returned because I need to trouble you with a matter. Xianxia entered the hall and explained the situation at Bai Lake Mountain. However, she didn't mention that it was entirely due to Lu Changxing, and also indicated that this trip would be beneficial to her cultivation. Oversee Bai Lake Mountain? Yun Wanshang's eyebrows furrowed slightly upon hearing this. She had previously heard from Wei Xing about this, guessing that Lu Changxing wanted to invite Xianxia to oversee Bai Lake Mountain. Her first thought was to refuse. Her own disciple being a core member of Qingyun sect and overseeing someone else's family, what kind of precedence would that set? Moreover, Xiaoxia's practice of the supreme forgetful love technique ultimately required her to embark on a path of detachment. If she remained entangled with Lu Changxing, her future path would likely be difficult, and enlightenment hard to achieve. But thinking of the relationship Xiaoxia and Lu Changxing had, which had already advanced beyond a certain point, it wasn't something that could be severed so easily. Furthermore, the current second level of Xiaoxia's supreme forgetful love technique, clouds have emotions, moon has emotions, required the two to shine in response to each other for success. I can promise you this matter. However, according to the sect rules, if you go to oversee Bai Lake Mountain, you can only stay for a maximum of 3 years. Yun Wanshang spoke, stating her conditions. Thank you, Master. Xiaoxia showed immediate joy in her eyes upon hearing these words, and bowed with her hands clasped together. Shiyu, seeing you this happy just because I've agreed to this matter, how can I be at ease with you? Yun Wanshang spoke somewhat helplessly upon seeing the joy in Xiaoxia's eyes. Though the deeper Xiaoxia's emotions became now, the better for her cultivation, the deeper she fell, the harder it would become to break away and sever those emotional ties in the future. Master! Xiaoxia was taken aback by these words and she bit her lower lip lightly. She also realized that whenever it involved Lu Changxing, her supreme forgetful love technique almost became ineffective. Moreover, this trip to Bai Lake Mountain would not only allow her to be with Lu Changxing, but also to accompany her daughter, stirring her emotions. Never mind, as long as you are aware of it yourself, it is not my place to say much. Yun Wanshang let out a sigh and said no more. She knew this kind of matter had to be resolved by Xiaoxia herself. Then she took out 2 third-rank talismans from her storage ring to give to Xiaoxia for protection. After all, Patriarch Xiahou Wuwa of the Xiahou family was still alive. If this Xiahou patriarch targeted Bai Lake Mountain for revenge, there might be considerable danger. Naturally, she wanted to give her disciple some life-saving treasures. Thank you, Master. Xiaoxia bowed with her hands clasped together. Your trip to Bai Lake Mountain is considered an outside mission, so don't reveal your whereabouts to others. Also, after the new record chief arrives at the Green River Marketplace, then proceed to Bai Lake Mountain. Yun Wanshang continued. Yes, Master. Xiaoxia nodded in agreement. She then took out a token from her storage bag. Master, I have a good friend named Han Li who helped me on the way to Jiuxiao Immortal City. True Immortal Qiyun granted him a Qingyun token. I would like to use this Qingyun token to request a second-rank array master from the sect to help set up a great formation at Bai Lake Mountain. Xiaoxia took out the Qingyun token that was in Lu Changxing's possession and spoke up. This loose cultivator Han Li is Lu Changxing, isn't he? Yun Wanshang looked at the token and spoke directly. She had previously guessed that the loose cultivator Han Li who saved her senior disciple was Lu Changxing. Now, seeing this Qingyun token, she was almost certain. I knew I couldn't hide it from Master. Xiaoxia's face showed a somewhat mischievous smile. She immediately realized that her master had seen through Lu Changsheng's disguise and guessed many things correctly. This made her hesitate, uncertain if her master was aware that she had given birth to Lu Wangshu. Still playing these little tricks in front of your master. Yun Wansheng's face showed a faint smile. Thinking of her senior disciple Chu Qingyi, she looked at Xiaoxia and continued, your senior sister is still recovering, conditioning herself to prepare for core formation. Thus, don't let Qingyi know about this loose cultivator Han Li's matter. Yun Wansheng said so. Don't let my senior sister know? Xiaoxia was surprised, not understanding the meaning behind these words. She couldn't help but speculate if her senior sister had developed some connection with Lu Changsheng. Although she did not have much interaction with her senior sister, she knew that she was dedicated to the sword, with a clarity in her sword heart. Wait, the sword? In that moment Xiaoxia's heart vaguely realized something. She bowed to Yun Wansheng and said, Master, I understand. Take my token to Master Mo, and ask him to go to Bai Lake Mountain to set up the formation. Yun Wansheng took out a token and spoke to Xiaoxia. Yes, Master. Xiaoxia nodded in response. She knew Master Mo was a second-tier top-level array master. His prowess in formations was exquisite, having set up great formations for many marketplaces of Qingyun sect. Bai Lake Mountain. Inside the retreat of Changxing Hall, phew! Lu Changxing opened his eyes and exhaled gently. He placed his palm in front of his chest and closed his eyes to feel. To completely refine the 9 treasured jade rui into my life-bound treasured bone, I'd need at least another 2 to 3 years. Lu Changxing pondered this progress, lightly sighing, knowing that such matters could not be rushed. He didn't seal himself completely in retreat but left the hall to check on the state of his worldly children. All these children would stay on by Lake Mountain for a while. Chapter 645. Yun Wansheng, don't let your senior sister know about Han Li. Lu Changxing visited his children, and according to their talents he offered them some simple guidance for the future. Now the Lu family could also be completely divided into the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family and Rui Prefecture Lu family. Regarding the secular side, now that Lu Pingan is at Bai Lake Mountain, Lu Wuyu is the eldest son in the secular world. He directly appointed his son Lu Wuyu as the family head. As for the management of Lu Wei's household, having served as a county magistrate for many years, his handling of people and matters was quite good in every aspect. If there really was something to say, it would be that his personality was somewhat indecisive and lacked boldness. But just being the family head of the secular Lu family, he doesn't need to possess any great boldness. Wuyu, from now on you will be in charge of the Rui Prefecture side. If you have any matters you can ask your Uncle Hong for advice or you can write to Bai Lake Mountain, Lu Changxing said to Lu Wuyu. This son had a quiet personality when he was young. When others were playing and making noise, he preferred to read books alone. Initially Lu Changxing wondered if this son would become a bookworm. Yes, father. Lu Wuyu, hearing this, nodded with a somewhat solemn face. He knew that after this separation, his father would probably seldom come to Rui Prefecture. This is your father's arrangement of some family rules and regulations, you can take a look at it. Lu Changxing took out a jade scroll and continued to say. This was the system of rewards and punishments for the Lu family that he had previously discussed with Lu Miaoyun and Ling Zixiao. All right, father. Lu Wuyu received the jade scroll and respectfully responded. You agree without even looking, just yes, yes, yes. If you have any opinions after reading, come directly to your father. Lu Changxing, seeing his son's manner, smacked him on the head and spoke irritation. He knew that given the limited time they spent together and his own status as a foundation establishment cultivator, many of his children viewed him with great awe and revered him. Therefore whatever he said his children would simply listen. I will look now, father. Lu Wuyu scratched his head and smiled as he recalled the time he spent with his father in his youth, and then he began to read the contents of the jade scroll. Father, I believe that there will definitely be arrogant individuals among the Lu family disciples, and there are already some signs of this. In my opinion, we must establish a family head to supervise and restrain the Lu family disciples. Also regarding financial matters, I think we shouldn't rely entirely on Blue Lake Mountain. Considering our family's relationship with Uncle Hong and your reputation, father, we can totally engage in commerce and be self-sufficient. After reading, Lu Wuyu expressed his opinions and suggestions. During his years in the secular world, thanks to his relationship with Hong Yi, he had served as a county magistrate. He knew that if things continued as they were, there would inevitably be many arrogant and wasteful youngsters. Moreover, if the secular Lu family relied too heavily on the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, the situation would be even worse. Additionally, with many younger brothers and sisters in the family now, it was certain that issues such as family partitioning and branching off would arise in the future. Since that is the case, the family can establish a family head to monitor the family etiquette, rules, and regulations, and the enforcement powers will be held in your hands as the family head. You can also form an enforcement team to implement laws, impose punishments, and as for finances, commerce, fiscal matters, you take care of it. If there is a family partition, the family head will also have unified control. Lu Changxing, after pondering for a moment, spoke out. The situation of children partitioning the family was certainly inevitable. Not to mention the Lu residence in Rui Prefecture had already been expanded once. As these children gradually start their own families, the Rui Prefecture Lu residence simply would not have enough space, and family partitioning would inevitably occur. Lu Changxing had no intention of forcing all these children to live together. He was willing to let them form multiple branches. However, regarding spirit rice, you all still need to practice martial arts daily, and that is indispensable, so as long as you can earn enough for daily expenses, things like spirit rice, martial arts training, and rewards for childbirth will all still be taken care of by Blue Lake Mountain, Lu Changxing said aloud. He would naturally not reduce the costs of his children's martial arts training and childbirth expenses. After all, with spirit rice and spiritual meals, his children could make rapid progress in the martial Tao. Moreover, eating more spirit rice, even if the parents were both ordinary people, would increase the likelihood of their offspring having a spiritual root compared to normal circumstances. Lu Wuyu nodded and continued to add some points. After the father and son finished discussing matters, Lu Changxing looked at Lu Wuyu and the other children, and for a moment he didn't know what else to say. Having many children and spending less time with them eventually led to a lack of common topics. Moreover, as the children grew up, the relaxed atmosphere of their youth was missing. Half a month later, in the Changxing Hall inside the talisman room, Lu Changxing was busy drawing talismans. Just then, a system prompt sounded in Lu Changxing's mind. Congratulations to the host for having 20 offspring break through to martial Tao innate, granting a bloodline effect, probability of producing offspring increased by 5%, and a chance to draw a prize. There's a reward for 20 as well. Lu Changxing, who was making talismans, heard this system prompt and a joyful smile appeared on his face. After the reward for the first 10 children breaking through to martial Tao innate, he had been eagerly anticipating how many more of his children would achieve this. After all, unlike cultivation that requires initiating the flow of qi, the martial Tao does not have the restriction of needing a spiritual root. As long as he kept spending money, all his children could potentially achieve martial Tao innate. He had presumed that it wouldn't just be a reward for 10 children with a single distribution of child money. Now that he saw a reward for 20 children with a share, it was a pleasant surprise for him. System time for the draw. Lu Changxing did not hesitate and mentally commanded. He was ready to see what he would get this time. Suddenly, a light red roulette wheel with a golden glow emerged and began to spin for the draw. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a magical treasure, Oceanic Bead. The reward has been sent to the system space, the host can check it at any time. Chapter 646. Yun Wanshang, don't let your senior sister know about Hanli. The golden light paused at the magical treasures category. Immediately, a string of azure treasure beads emerged from the big wheel, accompanied by a system notification sound. Magical treasure? Oceanic bead? Lu Changxing looked at the magical treasure before him, his brows slightly furrowed. He still had one magical treasure lying unused in his system space, and now he was getting another one for himself. Well, if it's magical treasures, then that's what they are. Once Pingon and the rest increase their cultivation level, and if they can master the 100 refinements treasure body art, these magical treasures can gradually come into play. Moreover, once my 9 treasure jade Rui fuses with my life-bound treasured bone, it will no longer be able to aid in cultivation. Currently, the Black Dragon Magical Bead and the Magical Treasure Embryo are likely to become obsolete after my 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art breaks through to the 6th level, so it's fine to get a few magical treasures as backups now, Lu Changxing thought to himself. Then he looked towards the system space to check out what kind of magical treasure this Oceanic Bead was. Magic Artifact, Oceanic Bead, Grade, Superior Magical Treasure. Description: crafted from 36 legacy oceanic beads, there are 36 beads in total. Individually, they serve as standard magic artifacts, but when all 36 are gathered, they form a superior magical treasure, capable of evolving into the oceanic shockwave formation. Is it actually a combination artifact? A formation path artifact? Lu Changsheng's eyes brightened with surprise and delight at the introduction of the oceanic bead. In the cultivation world, there are magic artifacts known as combination artifacts, which can be split into multiple artifacts. In such cases, even if one's strength is not sufficient, one can divide the artifact to utilize a portion of its power. And this oceanic bead is not only a combination magical treasure but also a formation path artifact, capable of evolving into the oceanic shockwave formation. Extract. Lu Changxing was very interested in this magical treasure and did not leave it to gather dust in system space. He directly extracted it for inspection. Instantly, a string of 36 beads, each the size of a baby's fist, crystal clear and flowing with deep blue luminescence, appeared. How heavy! Lu Changxing held the string of oceanic beads, and his hands immediately felt the weight. If it weren't for his body refinement strength, he would have felt unable to lift them. Through the system's detailed introduction of the oceanic bead, delight immediately showed in Lu Changxing's eyes. If used as a complete set, the oceanic bead would evolve into the oceanic shockwave formation. Used individually, the method was simple and crude. Directly use them to hit people. The oceanic bead contained the power of heavy water, not only incredibly heavy but also capable of discharging brilliance that could stun people's divine sense and senses. Thus, ordinary cultivators facing an incoming oceanic bead, if careless, could perish both body and cultivation path. But what truly delighted Lu Changxing was not the power or effects of the magical treasure. Through the system's introduction, he knew that the original materials for the oceanic bead came from the Jianghu race. Such a treasure bead had the effect of nurturing water veins and was beneficial for aquatic beings. Even if the oceanic bead isn't used as a magical treasure, just its ability to nurture water veins and aquatic beings makes it a good treasure for me. Lu Changxing's face was filled with delight. The main income of Bai Lake Mountain at present came from aquaculture, the fish and shrimp in Bai Shui Lake. And beneath Bai Shui Lake, there was a top-tier first-grade spirit vein. This oceanic bead, able to nurture water veins and aquatic beings, suggested that it could nourish the spirit vein of Bai Shui Lake and the spirit fish and shrimp within the lake, such as the red-blooded carp and the bai-blooded carp. Perhaps it could even promote this top-tier first-grade spirit vein to a second-grade spiritual vein. Besides, once Zishao has recovered and in the future breaks through to core formation, this oceanic bead can also serve as her magical treasure. Sister Miaoga practices the water of virtue technique, and this oceanic bead seems quite suitable for her too. Forget it, let's talk about the ownership of magical treasures later. For now, I'll use the oceanic bead to nurture the water veins, Lu Changxing murmured to himself, planning to discuss the ownership of the magical treasure later. However, if I want to nurture the water veins, I can't just place it in Bai Shui Lake arbitrarily. If someone fishes it out, then it'll be at a great loss. Lu Changxing remembered the time when his son, Lu Qingshan, went to dig up his golden armor bean mother. He thought it was better to wait for Ling Zixiao to recover a bit before using the oceanic bead to set up a formation in Bai Shui Lake to nurture the water veins. Now, having just returned and quickly arranged her affairs, she immediately went into closed-door cultivation, which was very strange. Yes, master, you can cultivate in peace. I will handle the affairs of the peak properly, Meng Xiaochan replied deferentially, pursing her lips slightly. MHM. Nangong merely nodded her head and then transformed into a divine rainbow, moving to her own cultivation chamber, where she gently brushed her lower abdomen with a complicated look in her eyes. By Lake Mountain. Talismans are spells stored within spirit talismans using symbol patterns expressed through spiritual ink, carried by talisman paper. If each talisman is treated as a whole, then each symbol, each stroke within it is, for instance, this most basic cleansing talisman. This part of the symbol structure controls the direction of spiritual power, this part maintains the flow of spiritual power, this part is the spell structure. At Biyun Villa in the Talisman Hall, Lu Changxing is teaching his wives, concubines and children about talismans. Now that he can see the talents of his family, he naturally arranges training based on simple nurturing, interest and individual aptitude. As long as the first batch of skilled workers in the family are on the right track, he won't have to worry about the family's future. Just then Lu Changxing's mental spirit stirred, He took out a yin-yang sensing talisman, and knew that Xianxia had arrived. He immediately let his concubines and children study on their own, having Lu Miaoyun come to provide additional knowledge about spirit plants. Shiyu Daoist. Lu Changxing, arriving at the mountain gate, saw not only Xianxia, but also a robust-looking elder with sparkling eyes and two young men wearing Qingyun sect disciples' attire. He immediately guessed that this elder and the two young men were array masters from the Qingyun sect. Lu Daoist, this is Mo Shorin from our Qingyun sect, Master Mo, a top-level array master. These two are disciples of Master Mo, coming over to set up a great formation for Bai Lake Mountain. Upon seeing Lu Changxing, Xianxia immediately informed him about the situation and identities of this Master Mo, second-tier top-level array master. Hearing this, Lu Changxing instantly understood that his status and identity were not simple. He immediately unlocked the mountain gate grand formation and politely bowed, saying, "I have seen Master Mo and two Daoist friends, please come in." Lu Daoist is too kind. My mission here is commanded to rearrange the great formation for your Bai Lake Mountain. I wonder what sort of requirements Lu Daoist has for the formation? Despite usually being an arrogant character, Master Mo appeared quite courteous. After all, his visit was not only requested by Lu Changxing utilizing a Qingyun command. Xianxia Yun Wanshang and Lu Changxing also evidently had a significant relationship. About the formation, I only have a rough idea and don't understand much. However, my wife is an array master. I will let her come and discuss the details with you. Lu Changxing welcomed them to the villa's main hall, served tea and then spoke. Having heard of the renown of my wife Master Mo, that's indeed perfect, Master Mo responded cheerily. He had heard that Bai Lake Mountain had a top-level formation master. Naturally, he was willing to exchange ideas with a professional. Otherwise, discussing with someone who does not understand formations can be quite headache-inducing. Especially when that person also has a complex relationship with the sect. Master Mo, please wait a moment, Lu Changxing said politely. He then went to Changxing Hall and told Ling Zixiao, who was studying talisman formations, "Zixiao, the array master from the Qingyun sect has arrived." Chapter 648. Repairing the Family Great Formation, Beast Taming Su Family. Oh, they've arrived so quickly, I'll go take a look. Ling Zixiao, upon hearing the words, put down the jade scroll in her hand and said with a smile. Zixiao, in addition to setting up a formation on the peak of Baiyun Peak, I also plan to set up a formation beneath Baishui Lake. Lu Changxing stated his needs in advance. He also took out the oceanic bead, telling Ling Zixiao that this bead had the effect of nourishing water channels and aquatic creatures. He planned to place this oceanic bead under the spirit vein of Baishui Lake. The oceanic bead, 36 in total, each comparable to a near-magical treasure? Ling Zixiao looked at the oceanic bead before her with a hint of surprise in her beautiful eyes. You must know that magical treasures are extremely precious, and few people can create them. Many nascent soul immortals don't even have multiple magical treasures. Lu Changxing casually took out a combination of extremely rare magical treasures to nourish the water channels. She couldn't help feeling astounded by Lu Changxing's mystery and suspected that he had inherited the full legacy of a nascent soul true lord. That's right, these treasures were made from the oceanic pearls left by the Jiaran of the sea, each comparable to a near-magical treasure with the effect of nourishing water channels. If it's continuously nourished, the first-grade top-notch spirit vein under Baishui Lake might even have the chance to upgrade to a second-grade spirit vein. Lu Changxing chuckled lightly and spoke thus. My dear, the oceanic bead is of significant importance. Although the array master from Qingyun sect has been requested through the Qingyun order, he cannot be fully trusted. However, since there are 36 oceanic beads, one can be taken out to serve as the foundation of the formation at Baishui Lake. In this way, I can later use this formation base as the key node of Baishui Lake, overlaying formations within formations. If the spirit vein formation of Baishui Lake upgrades to second rank, this will also enhance the overall great formation. Ling Zixiao looked at the oceanic bead before her, thought for a moment, and then expressed her thoughts. Good Zixiao, hold on to these oceanic beads for now, and you can arrange as you see fit later on. Lu Changxing, upon hearing this, nodded and handed over the oceanic bead to Ling Zixiao. Since the oceanic bead was somewhat heavy, he asked Ling Zixiao to be careful with it. Ling Zixiao felt warmth in her heart seeing Lu Changxing entrust her with such precious magical treasures so easily and with such concern that she should be careful. and she nodded with a smile in her eyes, replying, "Okay." The two walked out of Changxing Hall and entered the main hall of Biyun Villa. "Zishao, this is Mo Shorin from Qingyun sect, Master Mo." "Master Mo, this is my partner Ling Zixiao." Lu Changxing brought Ling Zixiao to the hall and introduced them. "Master Mo, pleasure to meet you." Ling Zixiao, dressed in a blue gown with a pale and elegantly beautiful face, looked at Master Mo before her and said with a graceful smile, "Hee, it's a pleasure to meet you, Taoist Ling. I wonder what requirements and thoughts you have regarding the family's great formation." Master Mo looked at Ling Zixiao and spoke with a chuckle. He could tell from her complexion that Ling Zixiao was not in good health. Knowing her condition, undertaking the enormous task of setting up a family great formation was indeed too much. Otherwise, there would be no need to expend a Qingyun order and call upon the goodwill of Qingyun sect to get him to take action personally. Regarding the Bai Lake Mountain Great Formation, there is no need to set it up from scratch. The workload would be just too great, requiring at least several years to complete. So, my thought is to build upon the existing Blue Water Azure Sky Great Formation, Ling Zixiao said with a smile. The Yu family's Blue Water Azure Sky Great Formation, as a second-rank high-grade Great Formation, was already considered quite good. After all, it's not that the higher the rank of a family's great formation the better. One must also consider daily spiritual energy consumption, the consumption when the formation is operating at full power, the coverage and other factors. If that is the case, it would be most ideal. Taoist Ling, after I examine the spirit vein and the status of the great formation on Bai Lake Mountain, we'll finalize a plan. How does that sound? Master Mo's face lit up with a smile when he heard Ling Zixiao's words. To set up a family great formation from scratch would not only consume materials but also take a great deal of time. If one could just adapt the existing setup, the workload would be greatly decreased, potentially to just 10 or 20% of the original. Naturally, he was not inclined to start afresh and spend a vast amount of time at Bai Lake Mountain. That is only natural. Ling Zixiao spoke with a dignified elegance. Then they proceeded to inspect the ley lines and the situation of the great formation on Bai Lake Mountain. During the process, Ling Zixiao presented her thoughts on the setup and arrangements for the great formation and some minor adjustments to the layout of Bai Lake Mountain to Master Mo. Typically, when Master Mo set up a great formation, it was his decision alone after examining the spirit vein layout. This time, due to the relationship between Lu Changxing and Qingyun sect, he gave some consideration to their opinions. Yet deep down he was still somewhat arrogant, believing they should heed his suggestions. Now listening to Ling Zixiao's arrangements, understanding and views on Bai Lake Mountain's great formation, he suddenly realized that Ling Zixiao was extraordinary in the formation path. He put away the disdain and arrogance in his heart and discussed the setup and arrangement of the great formation with her as an equal. So it was that after inspecting the great formation at Bai Lake Mountain, Master Mo settled down temporarily at Biyun Villa with his two disciples, ready to finalize the plan and then start the refurbishment and setup of the great formation. Changxing, the matter of overseeing Bai Lake Mountain has been agreed upon by the master. After the great formation business was taken care of, Xianxia finally found time to speak to Lu Changxing alone and informed him about overseeing Bai Lake Mountain. That's wonderful. Lu Changxing was immediately overjoyed to hear that Xianxia could come to oversee things, thinking to himself that Kaiyun True Immortal was quite a reasonable person after all. He was previously worried whether Kaiyun True Immortal would thwart their relationship. Chapter 649. Repairing the Family Great Formation Beast Taming Sioux Family. But I still have to make a trip to Green River Marketplace, Xianxia continued. She indicated that she might need 1 or 2 months to finish her business in Green River Marketplace before she could come over. Alright, Xiyu, when do you plan to go to Green River Marketplace? Lu Changxing inquired. I plan to head there today to deal with the matters there early and then come over. Xianxia said so. Although she wished to accompany her daughter, the thought of meeting her and then parting again made her prefer to get the tasks out of the way sooner rather than later. Xiyu, after you arrive at Green River Marketplace, help me see if there's a second-rank pill furnace available, and take a look at these spiritual materials as well. Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing took out a materials list and said to Xianxia, alchemy, wine brewing, puppet crafting. These 3 skills he planned to employ altogether, to craft several second-rank puppets for the home. Thus, he had many materials to purchase. Since Xianxia was available, he let her take the opportunity to make the purchases for him in Green River Marketplace. This many? Xianxia looked at the list, surprised by the variety of spiritual medicines and spiritual materials needed. You don't need to spend time gathering them. If they're available, buy them. If not, then let it be. Lu Changxing smiled and said, taking out spirit stones from his storage bag to give to Xianxia. He also took out a stack of talismans for Xianxia, so if she ran out of spirit stones she could sell the talismans for more. Changxing, do you still consider becoming a guest elder for the Qingyun sect? With your current skill in talisman making, you're already qualified to be a talisman path guest elder for the Qingyun sect. Becoming a guest elder for the Qingyun sect would bring many benefits and conveniences, both personally and for the family. Xianxia said these while looking at the talismans in her hand. Guest elder for the Qingyun sect. Lu Changxing paused lightly when he heard this, his face showing a moment of contemplation. He didn't mind taking on the role of a guest elder for the Qingyun sect. After all, it's good to lean on a strong tree for support. Having the title of Qingyun sect guest elder indeed came with many advantages and conveniences. Let's talk about this in a few years. There's a lot to take care of at Bai Lake Mountain right now. Once things settle down, I'll consider it. Lu Changxing said after a moment's deliberation. Being a guest elder for the Qingyun sect would unavoidably bring certain obligations. But as the family situation was not yet stable, he didn't want to trouble himself for some convenience. Sure. Xianxia nodded with a smile. She wasn't trying to get Lu Changxing to join the Qingyun sect or anything. She simply thought that it would be beneficial for both him and the family if Lu Changxing became a guest elder. Xiyu, stay for a night before you go. Lu Changxing looked at Xianxia in front of him, took her delicate hand gently and holding her in his embrace, said warmly. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. Renovations and modifications of the Great Formation at Bai Lake Mountain had begun. Apart from Mo Shorin and his 2 disciples, Lu Yuanding had also hired 3 more array masters to assist Lu Changxing. Lu Changxing entrusted the family Great Formation matters entirely to Ling Zixiao. Apart from making talismans, daily cultivation, and fusing his life-bound treasured bone, he taught his children and concubines. Or he would inspect the spiritual medicine valley, fish farms, and spiritual fields when he had nothing else to do. That day, Lu Changxing suddenly felt a surge of qi flow towards him. He knew another one of his children had completed qi refinement initiation. But after waiting for most of the day, he didn't receive the good news about which child it was. Could it be? Lu Changxing felt a stir in his mental spirit, and a system window appeared before him. Name, Lu Qingshan. Lifespan, November 99, Talent, 6th grade Spiritual Root, Gingjin Body Constitution, Middle grade Spiritual Body. Cultivation Level, Qi Refinement Level 1, Talent, Sword Dao Compatibility, 49%. Qingshan has completed Qi Refinement Initiation? Lu Changxing looked at his son Lu Qingshan's panel, feeling both surprised and delighted. Cultivators generally start their practice at the age of 12. However, due to different innate talents and foundations, there could be some fluctuations. Lu Qingshan was not yet 12 years old when he completed Qi Refinement Initiation, indicating his excellent talent and comprehension. After all, a nascent soul immortal would not accept him as a disciple if the cultivation techniques to be comprehended were simple. I wonder how Qingshan is doing in Jianghu sect. Now that he has completed Qi Refinement Initiation, his master must be giving him considerable attention. Thinking about his mischievous son, Lu Changxing felt a heaviness in his heart. He took a deep breath and let it out slowly. He didn't know when he would be able to visit his children at the Jianghu sect. You country Jianghu sect. Tianyuan Peak. Lu Qingshan, in a luxurious robe interwoven with gold and white, walked out of the palace with joy on his face. Seeing Lu Qingzhu inside the hall reading a book, he quickly stepped forward to lift his sister, saying happily, "Little Zhuer, I've already completed Qi Refinement Initiation. Brother, you're amazing." Lu Qingzhu immediately showed a smile upon hearing this. Of course, Lu Qingshan said proudly, rubbing his sister's little head, "Don't worry with my talent. Just give me about 10 years to break through to Foundation Establishment and become a Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator, and then we can go home to visit Mother. Hee, by then Mother, Grandfather, and Father will be shocked when they find out I've become a Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator." Lu Qingshan grinned, imagining the day when he would return home as a Foundation Establishment Great Cultivator. Previously he thought that the Jianghu sect would be similar to the Qingyun sect. If he missed home he might still be able to visit. However, after arriving at the Jianghu sect, he learned that he and his sister had come to another country. The journey from here back home was very far, and they had to wait until he became a foundation establishment cultivator to make the trip. This caused Lu Qingzhu to feel sad for a long time. Chapter 650. Repairing the Family Great Formation, Beast Taming Sioux Family. _4 And so, bringing his sister home became one of his motivations to diligently cultivate. Brother, go for it. Lu Qingzhu clenched her little fists and nodded vigorously. Xiaozhu, what do you want to eat today? I'll go get food from the dining hall. Lu Qingshan put down his sister and called out. The entire Tianyuan Peak was very quiet, home to only the Tianyuan True Immortal. But the Tianyuan True Immortal was usually very erratic, either in closed-door cultivation or out on affairs, rarely showing himself. Therefore the siblings usually had to go to Jianghu sect's inner sect dining hall for meals. Brother, whatever you choose is fine. Lu Qingzhu said this with an obedient face. All right, wait at home for me. Upon hearing this, Lu Qingshan nodded, then ran out of the great hall and yelled towards the distance, Crane Fairy! Crane Fairy! Soon after, a majestic and handsome crane, standing a full 10 feet tall with bright fiery red feathers, swooped down from the mountain behind, stirring up a strong gust of wind, and said to Lu Qingshan, Boy, what do you need? It's time for a meal, take me to the dining hall. Lu Qingshan said to the crane in front of him with a playful smile. You're such a bother, kid, needing to eat every day, making this fairy accompany you on a trip each time. The crane fairy complained but still slightly bent down to let Lu Qingshan climb onto its back. Can't help it, I'm growing right now, but once I can fly with tools by myself, I won't need to trouble you anymore. But rest assured you won't miss out on your 8 treasure chicken, roasted goose and steamed bear paws. Lu Qingshan said as much. Enough, stop talking, get on, this fairy is about to take flight. The crane fairy, hearing Lu Qingshan's words, couldn't help but drool, which dribbled down to the ground, exuding bursts of fragrance. Lu Qingshan, well prepared for this, immediately picked up a wooden bucket next to him to collect the crane's drool. You brat, tricking me for my fairy drool again, are you going or not? The crane fairy, seeing Lu Qingshan's actions, grumbled unhappily. Going, your crane drool is precious and shouldn't be wasted, whether for watering spiritual medicines or for medicinal baths, it's beneficial. When I achieve a breakthrough soon and can fly with tools, you'll be spared the trouble. Lu Qingshan chuckled, then climbed onto the crane's back, grasping its feathers tightly with both hands, looking around at the scenery as they flew towards the main peak of Jianghu sect's inner sect. In the blink of an eye, more than half a month went by. That day, a child was born to one of Lu Changsheng's concubines, Zheng Yongwan. The child possessed a spiritual root, a 6th grade spiritual root, which put Lu Changsheng in a very good mood. These days, with eugenics, the spiritual root talents of his children were gradually improving. During this time, Zheng Yongwan brought up the matters of Wugong Ridge Zheng family to Lu Changsheng. She indicated that her family was currently in contact with the beast-taming Sioux family, getting ready to become a subsidiary to the Sioux family. The beast-taming Sioux family? Lu Changsheng was somewhat surprised upon hearing this name. The beast-taming Sioux family was one of the 3 great cultivation families of Jianghu country. A family with a core formation elder as its pillar. It could be said to be the #1 cultivation family in the Qingyun region. Having heard of the renown of the beast-taming Sioux family in the Qingyun market before, Lu Changsheng knew they fostered a unit of water serpent Dao soldiers and fire raven Dao soldiers, with a profound family heritage. Now Zheng Yongwan was saying that the Zheng family was preparing to become a subsidiary to the Sioux family. It wasn't that he thought differently, but in Lu Changsheng's view, a family like the Zheng family, even if offering to become a subsidiary, the Sioux family might not necessarily be interested. It's just one of the Sioux family's branches, the Yu Mountain Sioux family, with 2 foundation establishment great cultivators in their family, Zheng Yongwan stated. I see. Lu Changsheng nodded upon hearing this, feeling that this made more sense. However, in his view, the old patriarch of the Zheng family was still making a hasty decision out of desperation. He estimated that, just like his own family had done before, by choosing to become a subsidiary or marrying off a daughter, they were only seeking to preserve the family's ancestral business. But if the Sioux family was willing to take you in as a subsidiary, they must have some motive, right? It's not likely they would protect you for nothing just for a small fraction of the profit. Sai, the old patriarch of the Zheng family, is truly desperate. He even gave up 1.5% of the Red Leaf Valley market's benefits, divided it between our 3 families, leaving only 0.5% for Wugong Ridge. Our three families have already promised to take care of Wugong Ridge for him, but now they are reaching out to the beast-taming Su family," Lu Changxing sighed softly. Initially, when the four families divided the Red Leaf Valley market, Qingzhou Mountain took 40%, Hundred Birds Lake and the Yu family, and the Zheng family each took 20%. Latterly, because the Yu Yuanshan of the Red Leaf Valley market had always presided over it, Qingzhou Mountain ceded 10% to the Yu family. Previously, at the founding ceremony of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, the patriarch of the Zheng family knew they couldn't hold on to this benefit, so they proactively offered up 1.5% to be divided between the three families. It was in hopes that the three families would lend the Zheng family a helping hand in the future. Faced with this, the three families all nodded in agreement, indicating that they would help within their capabilities. Now that the Zheng family had become a vassal to the beast-taming Su family, Lu Changxing couldn't help but worry if the Yu family would truly take the Zheng family as a vassal, would it affect his own side? The patriarch of the Zheng family knows that if a family power wants to annex the Zheng family, the three of us really can't help much. So he's trying to find as many allies as possible, at the very least the beast-taming Su family, who hail from the beast-taming Su family, won't be too brutal and value-saving face. Lu Changxing shook his head, not wanting to dwell on it, and decided to inform Ling Zixiao of this news, to see what she thought about it. At the same time he sent a message to Qingzhou Mountain Hundred Birds Lake, to tell Lu Yuanzhong and Bai Yunyang about it. After all, Zheng Yongwan was telling him this maybe as an advance warning, to spare him the shock when he eventually found out. 10 days later Xianxia arrived at Blue Lake Mountain. She needed to keep her tracks and identity hidden on this trip. So Lu Changxing directly arranged for Xianxia to stay at Changxing Hall. Nowadays Lu Miaoge was often in charge at Qingzhou Mountain, leaving Changxing Hall very vacant, with only Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao remaining. And often Lu Changxing didn't even spend the nights at Changxing Hall. Xianxia brought back a second-grade superior alchemy furnace for Lu Changxing on this trip. Once the fire veins in the Baiyun Peak alchemy room were nurtured and they had the earth vein fire, he could start alchemy. As for the materials for wine brewing and puppetry, Xianxia also purchased quite a lot. But in both of these aspects, Lu Changxing was not in a hurry to use them. For wine brewing, a regular first-grade wine could be produced with a brewing workshop and a cellar. However, for second-grade spiritual wine, not only are the materials scarce, the process is also complex. Different wines even require different cellars, which is quite troublesome, and cannot be built in a short period of time. As for puppets, they take too much time to make. The materials Xianxia has purchased so far are enough for him to make 3 second-grade puppets. But given his current situation, who knows how long it will take to craft these 3 second-grade puppets. The second-grade puppet he gave to Lu Miaohuan before was destroyed, and he hasn't even repaired it yet. So he's planning to take it slow. In a branch of the Myriad Beasts mountain range. In a basin valley, many dark coffins were buried, surrounded by the corpses of numerous demon beasts, with blood making the whole valley appear somewhat gloomy and terrifying. Wuxia is dead. What happened? At that moment, within a deep bronze coffin in the valley, a man dressed in black brocade robes, with a slightly stiff visage, sat up, his voice indifferent and commanding. Ancestor, Wuxia met with calamity at the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. In front of the coffin, a young man in his late 20s reported respectfully. I had previously warned them to be cautious, to focus on plundering without being too conspicuous. Xiahou Wuo's face darkened with anger as he listened to these words. He continued, now that Wuxia is dead, Qingyun sect will surely be investigating our family. Pass down my order. No one is to leave the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Convey my commands for Wuxiang and the rest to be more cautious and careful in Yu country. Yes, ancestor. The young man's expression showed traces of resentment upon hearing his ancestor's words. Xiahou Wuxia was the only other Foundation establishment late-stage ancestor in their Xiahou family aside from Xiahou Wuo. Now that they were wanted by Qingyun sect in Jianghu country like rats in the gutter, they could only hide in the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Yet a mere Foundation establishment family like Blue Lake Mountain could kill their ancestor, and Xiahou Wuo showed no response, which was extremely frustrating for him. Xiahou Wuo, of course, noticed the discontent in his kin's eyes. But he knew that if he went to trouble Blue Lake Mountain now, it would be extremely dangerous. Even if he destroyed Blue Lake Mountain to avenge his brother, it was highly likely that he would perish as well. Now that Wuxia is dead, the family's expenses can only rely on hunting demon beasts, but most of these beasts are used for corpse cultivation, part of the necromancy grounds. This is hardly a sustainable plan. Ancestor. To avenge our family's grudge and with my life on the line, I feel no fear, but to manage the household in this manner is truly... After the young man left, Xiahou Wuwa clenched his fists, his face twisted ferociously, his eyes glinting blood-red as he murmured to himself. It's unclear how much time had passed, but he held a jade slip in a daze, determination emerging in his blood-red eyes. Chapter 651. Endless Guileful Head, 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art 6th Level. _1 Within Changxing Hall, a warm fragrance filled the air. On the white jade bed, Lu Changxing embraced Ling Zixio's plump and soft waist. The soft and silky body was blushing beneath the white, dotted with delicate beads of sweat, giving the skin a tempting luster. Zixio, you've worked hard these days. Lu Changxing lay down on his side and gently stroked Ling Zixio's snow-white skin, speaking softly. In recent days, Ling Zixio was not only concerned with the family's great formation but also had to teach the children about formations. And on the family affairs side, Lu Miaoyun would often consult her, keeping her extremely busy. Her beautiful hair was disheveled, dampened by scented sweat, sticking to her charmingly flushed cheeks, a pair of Qiushui bright eyes brimming with a seductive charm as she spoke in a soft voice. It's not so hard, I usually have nothing else to do. But you, Changxing, are busy all day and still take the time to heal my injuries, even at the expense of your own cultivation. Ling Zixio's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. It's not a big deal. In 2 years, once the children at home can stand on their own, I can focus on cultivation, Lu Changxing said softly, his palm full and overbrimming. Many things can only be understood once done. Before establishing the family, he thought he was well prepared. But now that the family has just been established, even with Bai Lake Mountain as its base, he felt it was quite troublesome. If not for people like Ling Zixio, Lu Miaoyun, and the support of Qingzhou Mountain, he would never have coped alone. As long as you have a plan, go and spend time with Xiao Dao, friend. Ling Zixio propped up her delicate body slightly, speaking softly to Lu Changxing. After Xiaoxia moved into Changxing Hall, she clearly understood the relationship between the two. Nevertheless, she still found it hard to imagine how Lu Changxing had touched the heart of Xiaoxia, a fairy of the Moon Palace. After all, she had heard a bit about this Xiyu fairy these days. A high disciple of a nascent soul immortal from the Qingyun sect, famously cold and sanctified. Yet this lofty fairy not only had a deep relationship with Lu Changxing but also bore him a daughter. While she was curious, she even wanted to see what Xiyu fairy looked like when she dual cultivated with Lu Changxing. I just want to be with you today, Lu Changxing whispered in her ear. Suddenly, the two inverted their positions and began to indulge in intimate caresses. Afterward, they gradually fell asleep. Just at this moment, a system prompt sounded in Lu Changxing's mind. Congratulations to the host for the birth of 10 offspring, earning 1 chance at the lucky draw. 10? Could it be that my grandchildren are going to be like me, starting with 10, then 20, 30, 50? If that's the case, doesn't it mean that every so often I could get a lucky draw? Lu Changxing, upon hearing the system prompt, showed a hint of surprise in his eyes. Since he agreed a year and a half ago, children from the mortal Lu family began to marry and start families. Now, after more than a year, the third generation of the Lu family was being born one after another. At this rate, it wouldn't take many years for the third generation of the Lu family to reach 20, 30, or even 100. If every few dozens of offspring brought child money system gifts, this efficiency was far better than when he worked alone. Looking at Ling Zixio in his arms, her complexion pale and beautiful from overexertion, who had entered into sleep with even breathing, Lu Changxing silently thought, "System draw." Instantly the system drawing wheel appeared. Accompanied by a golden light, it began to spin. Soon after, the golden light stopped in the other category. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the corpse charm. Endless Guileful Head. The reward has been issued to system space. The host may check it at any time. An image of a hideous face with unkempt hair appeared, along with the system prompt. Corpse charm? Endless Guileful Head? What is this all about? Lu Changxing was puzzled after seeing the reward from the draw. He was aware of corpse charms, a general term for practicing zombies. Like Xiahou Moneyzine zombie he encountered before, it could also be called a corpse charm. But he had never heard of a corpse charm that consisted of solely a head. His mental spirit stirred slightly and he looked to the system space. Corpse charm, Endless Guileful Head. Rank, 3rd rank. Description: one of the corpse deception sect's sacred corpse charms, crafted from a nascent soul cultivator turned into a living dead. Through various secret techniques, when invaded by heart demons, the heart demon, true elixir, mana, and divine skills all fuse into the corpse's head, creating an unpredictable array of divine skills that fear neither sunlight nor thunderbolts. A corpse charm made from a nascent soul immortal? Lu Changxing was astounded as he read the description. As far as he knew, most zombies fall under the category of cold beings, fearing sunlight and thunderbolt techniques. Yet this endless guileful head was truly peculiar, not just a disembodied head but also fearless of sunlight and thunderbolts. Practicing zombies mostly belongs to the demon path, and this endless guileful head seems to be a particularly sinister existence even among them. If I were to use this thing in public, I would probably be mistaken for a demon cultivator. Moreover, as far as I am aware, the more powerful and sinister a corpse charm, the more likely it is to backfire on its master. However, since it's a product of the system, I suppose this endless guileful head must have some sort of master recognition effect, and wouldn't turn on its master, right? Lu Changxing looked at the endless guileful head in the system space, pondering. Based on the system's description, he guessed that the endless guileful head was no trivial matter. Aside from possessing the combat power of nascent soul, its skills and divine skills likely also posed a significant threat to nascent soul immortals. But the more powerful an object, the more strength required to control and master it. Forget it, let's just keep this thing in the system space for now and take it out when it's needed. Although Lu Changxing was curious about the combat power and divine skills of this endless guileful head. Chapter 652. Endless guileful head, 100 refinements treasure body art 6th level. But in his eyes, this thing was currently inconvenient to take out. After all, such objects could only be used when he faced danger, and only if it wouldn't expose the situation. If used under normal circumstances, it would definitely bring trouble to himself. Time flew by swiftly, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. During these months, all 5 of Lu Changxing's pregnant concubines had given birth to their children. Among the 5 children, 2 possessed a spiritual root, bringing the total number of Lu Changxing's offspring with spiritual roots to 43. Once all 43 children reached adulthood and became cultivators, the number of cultivators in the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family would match that of a normal cultivation family. However, seeing the birth of these 5 children, Lu Changxing became increasingly puzzled about Nangong Mili's situation. His concubines, who became pregnant more than a year later than Nangong Mili, had already given birth. Why was there still no reaction from her womb? Calculating the time, it had been over 2 years. Even for a nascent soul immortal to be pregnant, it could not possibly last this long, right? Could it be that she needed to be pregnant for 3 years and give birth to a Neza? If not for knowing that the system could not err, Lu Changxing would have suspected there was a problem with the system. It was because of this that Lu Changxing's anticipation and curiosity towards the child in Nangong Mili's womb grew even more. Not long ago, Lu Changxing's concubine Xianxia had taken a high-grade breakthrough elixir and successfully broke through to the 7th level energy refinement. Thinking of Xianxia's spirit-nurturing physique, Lu Changxing naturally took extra care of her, hoping that her second child would bring him a pleasant surprise. Perhaps because he was now a foundation establishment cultivator and Xianxia's spirit-nurturing physique made it relatively difficult to conceive, she had not yet become pregnant again. However, when it came to difficulty in getting pregnant, Bai Ling was even more challenging. This young girl had been taken as a concubine during the wedding at Bai Lake Mountain. In the past 6 months, Lu Changxing had not stinted on his affection for this young girl. Yet, even after 6 months had passed and the 5 aggregates proliferation method had been used, Bai Ling's belly still showed no signs of pregnancy. Lu Changxing suspected that it might be due to Bai Ling's bloodline. He and Ling Zixiao had both checked Bai Ling's condition in the past. There was a high probability that a bloodline reversal or mutation had occurred, making her half-demon of the demon race. Under such circumstances, the probability of the 2 conceiving offspring was quite low. Lu Changxing did not care much about this, intending to let nature take its course to have a child if possible, and if not, then so be it. Given Bai Ling's current talent, she had hopes of reaching foundation establishment, even core formation in the future. Though her personality was seriously socially anxious and timid, she would become a significant battle power for his family in the future. Dad, the golden armor spirit beans on your golden beanstalk have fallen off. One day Lu Pingan brought Lu Changxing some good news. Hearing this, Lu Changxing immediately stepped out of Changxing Hall and went deep into the herbal garden at Lingsue Cliff. Dad, when I was patrolling just now, I saw that all 8 spirit beans had fallen off. Upon seeing Lu Changxing arrive, Lu Pingan immediately came forward and handed him the 8 thumb-sized golden armor spirit beans. Very good. Lu Changxing played with the 8 golden armor spirit beans in his hands, his face showing joy. After so many years he finally saw the spirit beans mature. Decree. He formed a hand seal and channeled his mana into one of the spirit beans. Instantly, the spirit bean rose into the air and transformed into a tall figure clad in golden armor, a warrior. However, this golden armor warrior, compared to those transformed by the golden armor bean mother, was significantly weaker in stature and presence. Hit me with all your strength in a punch. Lu Changxing instructed the golden armor warrior in front of him. This golden armor warrior's battle power was quite straightforward, suited for close combat as a tank, and did not possess any techniques. Boom! Upon receiving the command, the golden armor warrior immediately raised its hand and threw a punch at Lu Changxing. The wind from the punch whistled, reaching him in an instant. Facing the punch, Lu Changxing did not blink, maintaining a calm demeanor as he lifted his hand and effortlessly caught the fist. Strength is at late-stage body refinement level, and the hardness barely reaches the level of a superior-grade magic artifact. Lu Changxing released the fist and mused inwardly, getting a rough estimate of this golden armor warrior's strength. But in his opinion, the greatest function of a golden armor warrior was not for combat. It was their ability to understand simple commands and instructions, making them suitable for labor. With these 8 golden armor warriors, crafting a second-rank puppet would be much simpler. Many components would not need to be crafted by himself. What about you, want to have a try? Lu Changxing saw his son Lu Pingan eyeing the golden armor warrior with evident interest and asked with a smile. Dad, this golden armored man seems different from the one used by Aunt Yun before, not as powerful. Lu Pingan commented. He had also witnessed the might of the golden armor bean mother on the day Xiahou money had arrived. He could clearly feel that although this warrior looked similar, its aura was significantly weaker. Yes, the golden armor warrior you saw was transformed by the bean mother. This golden armor warrior is merely transformed from a spirit bean produced by the bean mother, equivalent to a late-stage body refinement cultivator. If you are interested, you can spar with it and see for yourself. Lu Changxing said. Although his son Lu Pingan had only the strength of the 3rd-level energy refinement, he possessed the martial prowess of an innate great grandmaster. Late-stage body refinement? Great. Hearing this, Lu Pingan immediately nodded, raring to go as he waved at the golden armor warrior. Come on. You silly thing, don't you see where this is? This is the herbal garden. What if you damage the spiritual medicines? Lu Changxing, seeing his son behaving this way, gave him a smack on the head, chiding him. Subsequently, he walked out of the herbal garden with Lu Pingan to an open field, signifying for the golden armor warrior to attack Lu Pingan. Bang! The golden armor warrior burst toward Lu Pingan like a cannonball. Chapter 653, Endless Guileful Head, 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art 6th Level. Well done. Upon seeing this, Lu Pingan stepped forward, his fist surging with blood and vigor as he threw a punch. Bang! Dash! As they collided, Lu Pingan was forced to step back repeatedly, leaving deep footprints with each step. But he was undaunted, excitement shining in his eyes. He pushed off with his foot, leaped into the air and continued to throw punches at the golden armor warrior. His punches were ferocious, one after another, with the sound of wind howling and accompanied by the echoes of thunderous roars like those of tigers and leopards. The golden armor warrior faced Lu Pingan's onslaught without dodging or evading, employing a rigid style of fighting that exchanged blow for blow. Even though it was stronger than Lu Pingan in both body and strength, it couldn't gain any advantage. Secret technique, primordial chaos extreme. At that moment, true chi surged within Lu Pingan's body, his muscles bulging as his fists struck out like dragons emerging from the abyss, bombarding the golden armor warrior and forcing it to retreat step by step. Not bad at all. Lu Changxing couldn't help but smile as he watched the scene unfold. Honestly, he truly didn't know the extent of his own son's strength. While the golden armor warrior's fighting style was somewhat stiff and rigid, Lu Pingan's combat awareness and technique were indeed on point. Chick! Lu Changxing channeled mana into the remaining 7 golden armor spirit beans in his hand, causing them to join the battle. "Dad, what are you doing?" Just as Lu Pingan was getting into the spirit of the fight, he saw this and immediately changed expression, shouting out loud. He was able to suppress the golden armor warrior in front of him purely through technique. But with a single pair of fists, how could he deal with 7 at once? If all 7 joined the fight, he would be done for today. "I'm just adding a bit of difficulty for you," Lu Changxing said with a laugh, and after thinking it over, only allowed 2 golden armor warriors to join the fight while the remaining 5 watched from the sidelines. Suddenly, 3 golden armor warriors attacked Lu Pingan in unison. Facing such a siege, Lu Pingan soon became overwhelmed and started to struggle. After all, the combat method of the golden armor warriors bore an aspect of exchanging injury for injury, one force subduing 10 meetings. With 3 acting together, even with superior martial skills, it was hard to cope. "Stop." Seeing this, Lu Changxing immediately ordered the golden armor warriors to halt. He took out a rejuvenation insignia from his storage bag and applied it to Lu Pingan, dissipating his bruising and fist injuries while praising, "Not bad. Pingan, you have good talent in martial body refinement. Once you break through the middle stage of chi refinement, your father will teach you body refining techniques, and then you can practice magical dual cultivation." Lu Changxing said this. "Body refining techniques? Dad, doesn't the purple true solar scripture in cultivating count as a body refining technique?" Lu Pingan asked with some surprise upon hearing this. "Hey, that's hardly a body refining technique. You'll understand once you break through the middle stage of chi refinement." Lu Changxing chuckled softly, planning to teach Lu Pingan the 100 refinements treasure body art once he broke through the middle stage of chi refinement. Having said that, he recollected all the golden armor warriors, transforming them back into golden armor spirit beings. Seeing his son Lu Pingan looking enviously at the spirit beans in his hand, Lu Changxing smiled and said, "He'll give you a few from the second batch. Don't worry about it for now." "Thank you, father." Lu Pingan scratched his head and revealed a simple, honest smile. "Keep an eye on that golden armor bean, mother, and let me know if anything happens." Lu Changxing patted Lu Pingan on the shoulder, then transformed into an escape light and returned to Changxing Hall. Upon arriving at the hall, he immediately went to a side hall to study the forging of golden armor warrior puppets. Through his divine sense, he conveyed his requirements to the 8 golden armor warriors, instructing them to start work. Clang, 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 dash. In no time the 8 golden armor warriors got to work. The process of puppet crafting is roughly divided into 6 steps: refining, smelting, molding, assembling, fusion formation, and inscription. The golden armor warriors can perform refining, molding, assembling, and inscription. However, refining consumes a significant amount of energy for the golden armor warriors. It's feared that after refining the material for a single component, the energy of a golden armor warrior will be nearly depleted. And having golden armor warriors perform molding and assembling seems somewhat wasteful. So, the most suitable task for the golden armor warriors turns out to be the high-difficulty job of inscription. As long as I convey the necessary inscription steps through my divine sense, the golden armor warriors can replicate them precisely as per my instructions. After half a day, Lu Changxing had a rough understanding of the puppet forging capabilities of the golden armor warriors. Previously, he thought of using the golden armor warriors for the most basic manual labor. Now he realized they could be treated like CNC robots, capable of handling the most delicate and core components. With this, I can make some adjustments to my puppet factory idea. Lu Changxing mused. Right afterward, he went to the puppet workshop at the foot of Baiyun Peak. The workshop was still in its early stages, staffed only by Lu Xianji, 8 cultivators and more than a dozen mortals. Under Lu Xianzi's direction, they began working on Lu Changxing's concept of a puppet factory assembly line, jointly crafting puppets. "Greetings, Mountain Master." "Father." Seeing Lu Changxing arrive, everyone respectfully greeted him. "Xianji, come over here." Lu Changxing called out to his son Lu Xianji. "Yes, father." Upon hearing this, Lu Xianji immediately followed Lu Changxing into a side hall. "Xianji, do you have any unfinished puppets that haven't been inscribed yet?" Lu Changxing inquired. "I do." "Please wait a moment, father," Lu Xianji responded, promptly bringing over a beast-shaped puppet. This was just an ordinary first-grade low-quality puppet. Used by cultivators for carrying things around or for keeping watch, cannon fodder at most, there wasn't much of a market for them and they didn't make much money. They were purely practice material. Chapter 654. Endless Guileful Head, 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art 6th Level. _4 Lu Changxing took out a spiritual bean, infused it with mana, and turned it into a golden armor warrior. He conveyed the inscription with his divine sense and handed over the spiritual pattern carving knife to it. Instantly, the golden armor warrior took the spiritual pattern carving knife and went forward to inscribe on the beast-shaped puppet. This? Lu Xianxia immediately showed a look of surprise in his eyes upon seeing this scene. This golden armor warrior can follow commands and do some simple tasks, such as refining materials, forging parts, and inscribing formations. Xianxia, I want you to mainly study puppet assembly and spiritual patterns in your daily research. You can now omit the inscription part and focus on the big picture, carrying out fusion formation. For the spiritual patterns, you can directly assign them to the golden armor warrior to do. Lu Changxing said aloud. His idea for the puppet factory was to design the puppets himself, providing blueprints and steps. The apprentices and workers of the factory would carry out the refining, molding, and assembly, and then his own family would handle the fusion formation and inscription. But now, with the golden armor warrior, in his view, he could entirely delegate the highly challenging task of inscribing to the golden armor warrior. Yes, father. Upon hearing this, Lu Xianxia looked at the golden armor puppet and nodded in agreement. You keep this golden armor warrior. This is how to use the golden armor spirit bean. You can control it to inscribe spiritual patterns in your everyday work. Notify me when you can build avian puppets. If this golden armor warrior runs out of energy, go find your older brother and let him plant the spiritual bean at Lingsue Cliff for a few days. Lu Changxing explained to Lu Xianxia how to use the golden armor spirit bean and spoke out loud. He gave his son 3 blueprints of varying difficulty levels for them to practice and attempt to build. Yes, father, your son will certainly not disappoint you. Lu Xianxi's face showed excitement and he spoke earnestly. He never expected his own father would entrust him with such a valuable golden armor warrior. When Xiahou Money came before, he saw his family's golden armor warrior suppress Xiahou Money's zombie-like creatures, aware of the preciousness of such a golden armor warrior. This also made him realize the great expectations his father had for the puppet factory. Okay, work hard and strive to make the puppet factory our family's first profitable industry, Lu Changxing patted his son's shoulder and said. Although the puppet factory was still in its integration phase, hardly making any money, as long as they could produce a steady output of first-grade middle-grade puppets and efficiency improved, they were nearly at the point of making a profit. If they could steadily produce first-grade high-quality puppets, it would be considered a decent industry. Yes. Lu Xianxia nodded firmly. He knew if he really could achieve what his father said, the family's puppets could form a profitable industrial chain. After finishing his instructions to Lu Xianxia, Lu Changxing returned to Changxing Hall, letting the remaining 7 golden armor warriors continue working, forging parts for him. 2 months later. Changxing Hall, inside the closed-door cultivation chamber. Boom, 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 the figure of Lu Changxing was seated in a meditative posture, his blood and qi surging tumultuously within him like volcanic eruptions and roaring floods, echoing within the chamber, resonating with a clang that persisted for a long time. If it weren't for the special material of the chamber walls and the inscribed formations, the entire chamber might have collapsed from such resonant sound waves. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, 6th Level. Lu Changxing opened his eyes, his body looking as if it were cast from molten gold, dazzling and fierce, filling his whole being with a strong and oppressive vitality. He clenched his fists, his essence surging, blood qi gushing, and treasure light circulating, filled with a strong sense of power. Clang. Lu Changxing took out a superior magic artifact from his storage bag and chopped down on his arm, leaving only a faint white mark. Then he pulled out a lower-grade spiritual artifact from the storage bag, chopping lightly and leaving a faint white mark before chopping down fiercely again. Seeing that it still only left a faint reddish mark, Lu Changxing's face showed a trace of satisfaction. Now I can withstand a spiritual artifact with my bare hands without trouble, Lu Changxing murmured to himself. He thought about how one day if a Foundation establishment cultivator made a move on him, and a spiritual flying sword came killing towards him, he could merely resist the spiritual artifact with his bare hands, an image simply too stylish. Now that the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art has broken through to the 6th level, my speed of refining the 9 Treasure Jade Rui has also increased. In at most 1 year, I will be able to refine this 9 Treasure Jade Rui into my life-bound treasured bone. Lu Changxing placed his hand on his chest, his eyes bright and full of anticipation. Once the life-bound treasured bone was formed, he would gain 9 innate divine abilities. By then the situation with Ling Zixiao could be greatly alleviated. Chapter 655. Twin 4th Grade Spiritual Roots, the Third Spiritual Body Descendant. _1 Several days later, Lu Changxing consolidated his breakthrough from the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art and walked out of Changxing Hall feeling refreshed and clear-headed. Standing atop Baiyun Peak, he gazed into the distance and saw vast ripples of green water. Many fishermen were fishing in by Shui Lake. In the Lingtian district, the mutton-fat jade-like Yume rice shimmered and sparkled under the sunlight with its glossy color. 180 mu of Bai Shui rice was like budding green lotuses, gently swaying in the spiritual fields. From afar he could see Ling Zixiao and Master Mo busy with several array masters, still working on the great formation. Transforming into a streak of light, Lu Changxing headed to his own Lingtian district to inspect it. Mountain Master. Mountain Master. Mountain Master. In the Lingtian district's shed, a sallow-faced, emaciated middle-aged man in his 30s stepped forward with several old farmers to greet him. This Yume rice looks like it's about ready to mature, right? Lu Changxing examined the pearly white Yume rice in the field and turned to the middle-aged man, asking aloud. Reporting to the mountain master, the Yume rice needs to display faint patterns on the surface before it's fully ripe. There's about a month left before it's completely mature. The yellow-faced middle-aged man, named Luo Jianghu, was a spirit plant farmer, appointed by Lu Miaoyun as the manager of the spiritual fields. Not bad. Lu Changxing nodded, having inspected the Yume rice a while longer, then he looked at the Bai Shui rice and inquired, how much longer until the Bai Shui rice matures? He remembered that the cultivation information provided by the Yu family stated that when the pouches bloomed like lotuses, the rice would be mature. Reporting to the mountain master, Bai Shui rice matures once every 2.5 years. There is about half a year left until its maturity, Luo Jianghu replied. Take good care of them. When the harvest comes you'll be rewarded as you deserve. After inspecting the Lingtian district for a while, Lu Changxing encouraged Luo Jianghu with a few words and then headed towards his own talisman workshop. After more than half a year of education, the theoretical school of Bai Lake Mountain was gradually moving from theory to practice. In addition to the puppet workshop managed by Lu Xianxia, there was also a talisman workshop and a wine brewing workshop. This talisman workshop was not necessarily about talisman masters creating talismans. The main activity was producing talisman paper and spiritual ink. Mountain Master. Mountain Master. Upon seeing Lu Changxing arrive, the working cultivators and laborers busy at the workshop greeted him respectfully. Lu Changxing nodded his head to signal them to continue. Husband, what brings you here? Not far away, Chu Jinjin was instructing their daughter Lu Caijin in the making of talisman paper. Seeing Lu Changxing, she greeted him with a smile on her face. Having had some exposure to talisman paper making on Qingzhou Mountain, she often visited the talisman paper workshop to watch and help with producing talisman paper and spiritual ink. I had some free time and thought I'd come have a look, Lu Changxing said to Chu Jinjin, then immediately turned his attention to his daughter Lu Caijin, who was making talisman paper. The manufacturing of ordinary talisman paper was quite simple. In essence, it involved crushing spiritual materials and then boiling them, continuously purifying them with purification technique to remove impurities, and finally casting spirit infusion technique on the semi-finished talisman paper to imbue it with spiritual patterns. The difficulty of this process lay in the proportioning of spiritual materials, the control of the boiling time, and proficiency in the spirit infusion technique. As a second-grade talisman master, Lu Changxing was very clear about these methods, and he had even invited 2 experienced masters from Qingzhou Mountain to provide guidance. Caijin, that's enough, Lu Changxing said to his daughter, who was seriously focusing on the big pot and casting the purification technique in a gentle voice. Daddy? Lu Caijin finally let out a long breath and wiped the sweat from her brow. She had been brought over by her mother and was not familiar with the process yet, feeling a bit nervous. How do you feel about it? Lu Changxing asked his daughter. It's a bit boring, Lu Caijin pouted. Being bored is a good sign, there's nothing fun about this kind of thing. Lu Changxing laughed hearing her response, then affectionately ruffled his daughter's hair and said warmly. But mother insisted on bringing me here to find me something to do, Lu Caijin complained with a pout. Your mother just doesn't want you to be bored at home all the time, In a while, once the spirit bees you wanted arrive, you can try raising them for fun, Lu Changxing said with a smile. His daughter showed a 29% talent for beast taming. She was not interested in fish breeding but had expressed a desire to keep bees. In the beast taming heritage he had obtained from Meng Xiaochan, there were several methods for rearing spirit bees. Accordingly, Lu Changxing indulged her desire and got the Ji family to purchase various types of spirit bees for his daughter to enjoy rearing. "Thank you, Daddy." Lu Caizhen beamed at the news. "Humph, keep spoiling her," Xu Jinjin remarked with a feigned huff upon seeing this. "My Caizhen is so sensible, how could I not spoil her? And my Jinjin is the same as your husband, he'll fulfill your wishes as much as possible." Lu Changxing gently embraced Xu Jinjin. And Lu Caizhen, seeing her parents showing affection, displayed an expression of helplessness and disdain, and turned her attention back to her big pot. So many people around. Even as an old married couple, Xu Jinjin still felt a bit shy expressing affection in public, and so she playfully hit Lu Changxing. Hee. Lu Changxing chuckled and walked around the talisman workshop, wine brewing workshop, and puppet workshop with Xu Jinjin. Currently, all three workshops were in the adaptation and training phase, not making any money and even running at a loss. Only when the processes were smooth and started producing according to his plans could they begin to turn a profit. "Husband, in a few days it will be the day of the spirit root testing ceremony." When Lu Changxing and Xu Jinjin returned to the Lu family mansion, Lu Miaoyun greeted him and immediately brought up the topic. Chapter 656. Twin 4th Grade Spiritual Roots, the third spiritual body descendant. Logically, the Lu family only had 3 children to test for their spiritual roots this year, and there was no need for a big spirit testing ceremony. But Blue Lake Mountain also had mortals left behind by the Yu family from the past. Although many had moved away, there were still hundreds of households remaining. Most of these mortals were skilled, proficient in fishing and growing spirit rice. So Lu Changxing let them continue living on Blue Lake Mountain. The children who had chosen to stay on Blue Lake Mountain, Lu Changxing also settled in this small town, letting them manage the town. Therefore, the spirit testing ceremony was not only held for their own family's children but also for the people of Hushan Town. If any of these children had a spiritual root, then after growing up and being nurtured, they would also be people of his old Lu family. "Just hold it as usual," Lu Changxing nodded and said. Afterward, he talked with Lu Miaoyun about the family situation for a while. Currently, all the affairs of the family, the spiritual fields, spiritual medicine, fishery, and the 3 major workshops, had managers assigned to them. But these affairs still needed to be reported to Lu Miaoyun. "Husband, the talisman workshop and wine brewing workshop are expected to break even after a year and gradually start turning a profit. But the puppet workshop," Lu Miaoyun said to Lu Changxing. She could understand the talisman workshop and wine brewing workshop. After all, these 2 workshops had help from people from Jianghu Mountain, and the investment was not too large, giving her some confidence. But the puppet workshop only had the puppet inheritance and Lu Xianxia the puppet master, and the investment was substantial. Under these conditions, she was not very optimistic about achieving a quick profit. Don't worry about the puppet workshop, it is estimated that it will be able to make a profit next year." Lu Changxing heard the implications in Lu Miaoyun's words and responded accordingly. The simplest way to improve in any of the 100 arts of cultivation was to practice more. So, in order for the puppet workshop to quickly become efficient and skilled, he had already invested several thousand spirit stones. However, when it comes to making puppets, there is one advantage. That is, if there is any problem with the crafted parts and components, at most they can be remelted and recreated, with only a portion of the materials being lost, avoiding a complete waste and significant loss. MHM. Lu Miaoyun heard this, nodded and replied. She had great faith in what Lu Changxing said without the slightest doubt. After all, as a couple for so many years, Lu Changxing's status in her heart was unquestionable. 4 days later. Hushan Town. As this was the first spirit testing ceremony of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, Lu Changxing the mountain master, as well as Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, and others all came to observe the ceremony. The task of presiding over the ceremony was handed over to his son, Lu Pingan. Lu Qingxing. Lu Pingan, looking at the name list in his hand, called out, feeling as if in a different world. He still vividly remembered the year he attended the spirit testing ceremony at Jianghu Mountain under the guidance of his father Lu Changxing and mother Lu Lanxu. Now he had become the one presiding over the spirit testing ceremony. The little girl who was called by name immediately went in front of the spirit testing pillar, led by her mother Yu Yao, dropped a drop of blood and then held the pillar. No spiritual root. Seeing no reaction from the spirit testing pillar, Lu Pingan sighed softly and said aloud, "Mother." The little girl saw no reaction from the spirit testing pillar, and understanding the situation, a trace of sadness appeared on her face. "It's okay, Qingxing." Yu Yao tried to smile despite the clear effort. Having given birth to 6 children, she had already gone through this several times. But seeing that her daughter had no spiritual root, she still felt somewhat downhearted. Sigh. Lu Changxing watched this scene and also sighed softly. He stepped forward to pick up the girl and comfort her. Lu Qingxian. Lu Pingan read the second name. Xiao Yuyao promptly urged her son to come forward. The little boy walked to the spirit testing pillar, dropped a drop of blood and gripped the pillar. Instantly the spirit testing pillar lit up with a faint red glow. And out of the 10 segments of the pillar, 6 lit up. This indicated a 4th grade spiritual root. This is a 4th grade spiritual root. Lu Miaoyun, Chu Jinjin, Lu Miaohuan, and others saw the spirit testing pillar and their eyes revealed surprise, delight, and envy. You know, out of 9 grades of spiritual roots, a 4th grade spiritual root is already considered a high-quality spiritual root. In a cultivation family, such talent belongs to the seeds of foundation establishment. As long as they practice well in the future, they have hope to establish their foundation. Currently, in the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, among the offspring of Lu Changxing, no one has had such a high quality of spiritual root talent before. The highest spiritual root was that of Lu Miaohuan's son, Lu Qingshan, with a 6th grade spiritual root. However, not only does Lu Qingshan possess a 6th grade spiritual root, but he also has the legendary spiritual body, which makes his talent higher than Lu Qingchuan's. A 4th grade spiritual root, aligned with the fire element of the 5 elements. Lu Pingan, seeing this result and feeling somewhat envious, took a deep breath and said aloud, "Very good, the first year of the spirit testing ceremony for my Blue Lake Mountain Lu family has revealed a 4th grade spiritual root. This is a good omen." Lu Changxing stepped forward, patted the boy's head, showed a smile and said loudly. Even though he already knew of his son's spiritual root, under these circumstances, he couldn't help but show happiness. "Congratulations to my husband. Congratulations to Sister Yu Yao. Congratulations to the Mountain Master. Wishing the young master a long and prosperous path in the way of immortals. Congratulations to the Mountain Master. Wishing the young master a long and prosperous path in the way of immortals." The wives and villagers of Hushan town who were observing the ceremony congratulated them one after another. Chapter 657. Twin 4th grade spiritual roots, the 3rd spiritual body descendant. Mother. Lu Qingxian was somewhat at a loss in the face of such a scene. He. Lu Changxing, holding the child, turned to Xiao Yuyao and said, "Yuyao, thank you for your hard work." Having given birth to a child with a 4th grade spiritual root, according to the family rules he had previously established, she was entitled to a reward. Not only could she be promoted from 9th grade concubine, but should Lu Qingxian excel in the future, she too could rise in status through her son. "My lord, your concubine did not find it hard," Xiao Yuyao said with a trembling voice. She came from a minor qi refinement family. After her family fell, she was sold into the White Jade Tower. She had expected only grim and miserable days ahead, yet became a maid to Lu Changxing. Over the years, aside from bearing several children, her life was extremely comfortable. Now her young son possessed a 4th grade spiritual root, becoming Lu Changxing's child with the best spiritual root, which was an immense surprise to her. "The ceremony will continue, Wangshu." Lu Changxing, looking towards Lu Wangshu beside him, showed an encouraging look. "Big pot, be gentle." Lu Wangshu, dressed in a pale pink dress as cute as a carved doll, hopped forward and stretched out her delicate little hand, saying to Lu Pingan in a crisp voice. She had been raised by Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, and Chu Jinjin since childhood, and was also loved by Lu Changxing, thus had a lively and cheerful disposition. "Okay." Lu Pingan looked at his sister and grinned. Then he used a small knife to make a gentle cut on her hand, squeezed out a drop of blood, and had her grasp the spirit testing pillar. On the spirit testing pillar, pale green and deep blue lights blossomed. A total of 6 sections lit up on the 10-segment spirit testing pillar. This, another 4th grade spiritual root. Hiss, 2 4th grade spiritual roots in a row. This. Lu Miaoyun and the others, upon witnessing this scene, had faces full of astonishment and surprise. It should be known that at the spirit testing ceremony of Jianghu Mountain, it was quite rare to encounter a 4th grade spiritual root even once in 10 years. Now, among Lu Changsheng's children undergoing the spiritual root test, there were astonishingly 2 4th grade spiritual roots in a row. This Lu Changsheng really has extraordinary luck. Master Mo, who had arranged the great formation for Bai Lake Mountain, had also come to watch the ceremony. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but exclaim. He had previously learned about Lu Changsheng, feeling that this person had no small amount of fortune and opportunity, able to even break through to foundation establishment with a lower grade spiritual root and establish a family. Now seeing that there were 2 4th grade spiritual roots in his family, he too couldn't help but marvel and feel moved. After all, when it comes to childbirth, in addition to factors like the parents, luck plays a big part. Another 4th grade spiritual root? Lu Pingan looked at the spirit testing pillar in front of him with a look of surprise and doubtfulness. He then transmitted his voice to Lu Changsheng. Dad, could there be something wrong with this spirit testing pillar? Can't you hope for something good? Lu Changsheng, upon hearing this, spoke to his son somewhat irritatedly. 2 4th grade spiritual roots had appeared in his own family, and this silly son actually suspected there was a problem with the spirit testing pillar. He stepped forward, holding Lu Wangsha's hand with a beaming smile, and said loudly, "Excellent, excellent. My Lu family has produced 2 4th grade spiritual roots in 1 year. This is a blessing from the heavens for my Lu family, a blessing for Bai Lake Mountain. Congratulations to my husband. Congratulations, Sister Miaoga. Congratulations to the Mountain Master, and may the young lady enjoy a long and prosperous path as an immortal." Everyone immediately congratulated them loudly. Since Xiaoxia's mission was to station at Bai Lake Mountain and to keep a low profile, she rarely made public appearances. This time, the spirit testing ceremony was attended by Lu Miaoga, accompanied by Lu Wangshu. Over the years, everyone had come to regard Lu Wangshu as Lu Miaoga's daughter. Hee, Daddy, am so amazing. Is there a reward for me? Lu Wangshu tilted her little head up and asked Lu Changsheng. Yes, there is, for everyone. Lu Changsheng said with a smile, petted the somewhat bewildered Lu Qingchuan's head beside him, and turned to Lu Qingxing saying, Qingxian, what reward would you like? I would like a puppet bird. Lu Qingxian thought for a moment and then spoke up. He was very fond of the puppet bird at Bai Lake Mountain Amusement Park and wanted one of his own. All right, I'll get you one later, Lu Changxing said with a nod and a smile. He then took the 3 children aside to sit and signaled for the spirit testing ceremony to continue. The villagers of Hushan town were also much tenser at this moment, looking at their own children with more anticipation. Hoping to be touched by the fortune of Bai Lake Mountain's new mountain master, they wished for their children to be detected with a spiritual root. Hushan town had a total of 23 eligible children. As the tests proceeded one by one, there were no surprises. Only 2 children were found to have spiritual roots, but both were lower-grade spiritual roots. However, relative to the circumstances, having 2 immortal seedlings among 23 people was already quite impressive. Sometimes, out of dozens of children, not a single one would possess a spiritual root. Lu Changxing rewarded the parents of these 2 children and bestowed elixir medicines upon them. He also announced that these 2 children were entitled to start their enlightenment education at the Lu Family Academy. Thank you, Mountain Master, thank you, Mountain Master. Upon hearing this, both sets of parents immediately knelt and thanked Lu Changxing. At this time, Lu Changxing also announced people benefiting policies to the residents of Hushan town, encouraging childbirth. He promised that if a child in the family was detected with a spiritual root, not only would they receive a reward, but the expenses for the child's future cultivation would all be covered by the Lu family. Thank you, Mountain Master. Thank you, Mountain Master. The villagers thanked him profusely upon hearing this announcement. They naturally knew that even if their children had spiritual roots, they couldn't compare to the young masters and misses of the Lu family. But if their own children could embark on the path of immortality and they could receive tangible rewards, it was more than enough for them. In the blink of an eye, more than a month passed. With Lu Changsheng's hard work and diligence, Xianxia finally became pregnant. Lu Changsheng couldn't help but hold some expectations for this child. If this child could also possess a 4th grade spiritual root, his own spiritual root could be promoted to a higher grade. In Changxing Hall, within the talisman crafting room, Lu Changxing was in the process of drawing a spirit talisman. By Lake Mountain had been operating at a loss. Naturally, he had to subsidize the household expenses with his talismans. Moreover, with his reputation as a second-rank, superior-grade talisman master spreading, there were often families and powers who came to purchase second-rank talismans. To this end, Lu Changxing had them queue up, selling 1 or 2 second-rank, superior-grade talismans almost every month. The queue for the talismans to be sold was already booked until next year. As Lu Changxing was focusing intently on drawing the talismans, suddenly a strong and mysterious vibration surged forth, accompanied by a system notification. Congratulations to the host for the birth of the third offspring with a spiritual body, earning 1 lottery draw chance. Chapter 658, Top-Level Spiritual Body, Black Dragon Codex. _15 Poisons Cult, Jianghu Peak. In the closed-door cultivation chamber, waves of subtle fragrance wafted through the air. On the ink-black jade couch, Nangong Mili, draped in a luxurious purple silk robe, gazed weakly and palely at the infant in her arms. The newborn was fair and tender, its flesh aglow with iridescence, emanating strands of fragrance that filled the entire chamber with a sweet aroma. The infant didn't cry or fuss, its large eyes, clear and shiny, gazing at Nangong Mili with a milky voice. "Daughter, this is my daughter. My daughter, Nangong Mili's daughter." Nangong Mili's enchanting face at this moment was full of satisfaction and adoring affection. Holding this child, she felt as if she were holding the whole world. The connection of blood between mother and daughter brought an inexplicable joy to her heart, radiance of motherhood shining brightly. A surge of spiritual mechanism, a hidden fragrance wafts. This child must possess some kind of spiritual body, worthy of being my daughter, Nangong Mili's daughter. Nangong Mili continuously observed her newborn, her face alight with joy, maternal tenderness overflowing from her narrow phoenix eyes. Seeing the baby in her arms, she involuntarily thought of Lu Changxing. Although she had carried the child for over 2 years, she couldn't be certain the child would be born exceptionally talented with a spiritual body. At most, she could ensure her child would have a spiritual root, a talent for a spiritual root that wasn't bad. The talent her child now possessed was partly due to luck, as well as the child's father's contribution. I wonder what kind of Taoist body that scoundrel man has. Nangong Mili pondered in her heart. She had previously speculated that Lu Changxing might possess some unrivaled Taoist body. Only with such an attribute could he, while at the foundation establishment stage, use his origin source to nurture a hint of golden core charm for his true elixir. Now, seeing her daughter, her suspicions were almost confirmed. Firm in her belief that Lu Changxing must possess some rare constitution. This is my daughter, Nangong Mili's daughter. What does it have to do with that scoundrel man? Nangong Mili coldly snorted when she thought of Lu Changxing. She then continued to look at her daughter, smelling the sweet scent exuding from her flesh, with a glowing maternal expression. A surge of spiritual mechanism, a hidden fragrance wafts. What kind of spiritual body might this be? Yeah. The baby cooed, lifting a small hand, melting the usually cold-hearted Nangong Mili, who gently extended a slender white jade finger for her daughter to grasp. At that moment, both mother and daughter smiled. From now on your name will be Yao Yao. Nangong Yao Yao. By Lake Mountain. Changxing Hall, Talisman Crafting Room. This. Lu Changxing's face bloomed with excitement and joy. The mystical sensation that had just reached him was intensely profound, like nothing he had ever felt before. Beyond the pulsating improvement of his spiritual root, there was a feeling as if he was undergoing a rebirth. His whole body became translucent, feeling much lighter, with an indescribable, mystical change. Lu Changxing knew this was the change brought about by his child's spiritual body. To have such a noticeable transformation just at birth was astonishing. System. At once, Lu Changxing mentally called out, bringing up the system to check the situation. Name, Lu Changxing. Identity, Master of By Lake Mountain. Cultivation, Foundation Establishment 4th Level. Lifespan, 41/286. Talents, 2nd Grade Spiritual Root, Gingjin Body Constitution, Medium Grade Spiritual Body, Blood Talisman Spiritual Body, High Grade Spiritual Body, Flawless Heavenly Fragrance Body, Top Level Spiritual Body. Cultivation Technique, 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, 7 Luminaries Great Freedom Sword Scripture, Yin-Yang Harmony Technique 99. Mystical Talisman Scripture, Immortal Beauty Technique, Tai Xing Ju. Spells. 7 Luminary Sword Radiance, 7 Luminary Sword Shield, 7 Luminary Sword Escape. Items. Endless Guileful Head, Lu Family Genealogy, Spirit Slaughterer, Spiritual Eye Spring, Profound Origin Bead, Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, Luminous Treasure Tree, Golden Armor Bean Mother, Life Substituting Talisman, Coagulation Crystal Elixir. Magical Treasures. 9 Treasure Jade Rui Oceanic Bead, Black Dragon Magical Bead, 100 Steeds Towering Pagoda Lock. Skills. Alchemy 2nd rank, Talisman Making 3rd rank, Puppetry 2nd rank, Spirit Slaughter 2nd rank, Wine Brewing 2nd rank. Spiritual Pets. Mount Sumeru Tree King 9 Netherhound 6-Winged Golden Silkworm, Cold Blue Dark Turtle, Peach Blossom Goo, Bloodline Effect. Offspring Spiritual Root Probability plus 25%, Progeny plus 15%. Family, 239, 2nd Grade Spiritual Root, Top Level Spiritual Body Flawless. Heavenly Fragrance Body. Lu Changxing, looking at the changes in his talents, was filled with emotion. He hadn't expected to elevate directly from a 4th grade spiritual root to a 2nd grade, and to gain a top-level spiritual body. His talents had been completely upgraded to a new level compared to before. In his family, the one with the highest talent was Ling Zixiao. 3rd grade spiritual root, Dragon Roar Physique. But now, with the birth of this child, his spiritual root talent had undergone a qualitative change, surpassing Ling Zixiao. Indeed, one must breed the best, as 100 lower-grade spiritual roots cannot compare to a single high-quality spiritual root, nor to a top-level spiritual body. Now that my 4th grade spiritual root has advanced to 2nd grade, breaking through to core formation in the future will be much easier. If in the following decades, if my chi is exuberant and I father an earth spirit root or heavenly spiritual root offspring, core formation will be as easy as a snap of the fingers. However, what kind of spiritual body is the flawless heavenly fragrance body, and why haven't I heard of it? Lu Changxing looked at the flawless heavenly fragrance body, murmuring to himself. Due to the situation with his child, Bai Ling, he had read many books concerning spiritual bodies. But he had never heard of the flawless heavenly fragrance body. He remembered the profound change that had made his entire being much more translucent, and upon closing his eyes to introspect, he examined his whole body. He immediately noticed that his flesh, meridians, the previously unblemished body honed by the 100 refinements treasure body art upon reaching foundation establishment, now had an additional crystalline quality, without a single flaw, as if they were carved from crystal. But his own daughter, born with an 80% talent for abilities, it's naturally a good thing to have high abilities. However, in Lu Changxing's view, bewitching techniques still belong to the minor arts, a third-rate method. The thought of his daughter cultivating such a skill made him feel repelled and disgusted. How could his own daughter learn such things? It seems that this flawless heavenly fragrance body, like the blood talisman spiritual body, provides bonuses to bewitching and charming skills, which is why she has such talent from the moment of birth. Damn it, my precious daughter was born in the demon path and her mother is a big figure in the demon path. She won't tread the heretical path in the future, will she? No, I must acquire the strength to go to the 5 Poisons cult and bring my daughter back home. Otherwise, growing up in a place like the 5 Poisons cult, she will surely be led astray from constant exposure. Lu Changxing took a deep breath as he looked at the bewitching technique, muttering to himself. He felt that his daughter's talents might be corrupted in the demon path. Especially since her mother, Nangong Mili, inherently possessed the Xianyin bewitching body and was adept in cultivating bewitching techniques. Nangong Mili is extremely protective. She should not let her daughter go astray. No, this woman comes from the demon path and her nature is questionable. I must break through core formation soon and bring my precious daughter home. Lu Changxing exhaled deeply, his eyes filled with determination. He planned to bring his daughter home after either breaking through core formation or when his strength was sufficient. Otherwise, what would happen if his darling daughter were to be spoiled as she grew older? By then he could also persuade Nangong Mili to turn over a new leaf and bring her and Meng Xiaochan back home. System Draw Prize. Lu Changxing closed the system interface, silently initiating the command in his mind. Suddenly the system's prize wheel emerged. Accompanied by a flash of golden light, it began to spin. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Black Dragon Codex Cultivation Technique. The reward has been delivered to the system space. The host can view it at any time. A pattern of a lustrous jade scroll appeared along with the sound of the system notification. The Black Dragon Codex? Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow when he saw this cultivation technique. In his view, the name sounded a bit like a chi refinement technique, yet also somewhat like a demon race technique. But whatever the technique, it didn't seem like the mental spirit technique he had hoped for. Sigh, at the moment, cultivation techniques can only enhance the diversity of my family's techniques. Lu Changxing sighed lightly. Afterward, he looked at the detailed information about this technique in the system space. Chapter 660. Top-Level Spiritual Body, Black Dragon Codex. Suddenly, the practice methods related to the Black Dragon Codex burst into Lu Changxing's mind, as if pouring down like enlightening nectar. He didn't know how much time had passed. Hiss, this Black Dragon Codex really has something. Lu Changxing opened his eyes, revealing a hint of joy. Through the system's inheritance, he had become thoroughly familiar with this Black Dragon Codex. He found that although it was a technique of the peripheral sect level, it was much more powerful than the peripheral sect level Red Phoenix True Scripture, which he had acquired. This technique, just as the system had introduced, could allow one to transform into a black dragon upon complete mastery. It counted as a technique that dual cultivate both magical abilities and physical body, or one could say it primarily focused on body refinement. In the presence of water veins or sea areas, the power of this technique could be further enhanced. But what truly excited Lu Changxing was that within this technique lay a method for cultivating a top-level Dao soldier. The Blackwater Dragon Spirit Weapon. One would first craft a Blackwater Dragon spell restriction, then infuse the restriction into the body of an aquatic demon beast with dragon blood, and through continuous nurturing strengthen its body, cultivate its spirituality, accumulate its essence, slowly advancing it into a Blackwater Dragon Dao soldier. This Blackwater Dragon Dao soldier had the potential to reach the third rank as a Dao soldier. Even without having cultivated the Black Dragon Codex, one could still craft it. If a cultivator of the Black Dragon Codex were to nurture dozens or hundreds of Blackwater Dragon Dao soldiers, he could form a great formation and dominate the waters, defeating enemies beyond his level with absolute ease. If one could completely master the Black Dragon Codex and transform into a black dragon, he could even integrate all the Blackwater Dragon Dao soldiers into his divine spirit, comparable to divinity transformation. Blackwater Dragon Dao Soldier. Every 10 years, almost on schedule, a dragon carp is born in by Shui Lake. This dragon carp, also known as the young dragon breed, could potentially be used to cultivate Blackwater Dragon spirit weapons. Moreover, to be honest, the red blood carp and blue blood carp also contain a trace amount of dragon blood in their bodies, which could be tried in cultivating Dao soldiers. Even if that doesn't work out, with the unparalleled environmental advantage of Baishui Lake, I can also purchase the relevant aquatic demon beasts from outside to cultivate these Blackwater Dragon Dao soldiers. Lu Changxing muttered to himself, filled with joy. The previously acquired 99 mystical talisman scripture also contained methods to refine Dao soldiers. But those talisman weapons, not only did they consume time and energy in their creation, but they also required the expenditure of one's cultivation level to nurture, which was quite troublesome for him. Now, these Blackwater Dragon Dao soldiers required no such expenditure of energy, only money to slowly cultivate. With the environment of Baishui Lake, if he could nurture dozens or even hundreds of Blackwater Dragon spirit weapons at home, it would be a significant foundation for his family in the future. However, the Black Dragon Codex has one flaw. It affects fertility as one's realm advances. While not to the point of sterility after cultivating it, conceiving offspring becomes many times more difficult than under normal circumstances. Thus, it's mandatory to disclose this before teaching this technique. Lu Changxing exhaled softly. Logically, top-level techniques wouldn't have any side effects. However, extremely powerful techniques often came with certain side effects, such as Xianxia's Supreme Forgetful Love technique. But with offspring who possess a spiritual root, many who are single don't plan to marry, so Lu Changxing would also base his decision on their wishes. Let's see what change has occurred to my second-grade spiritual roots cultivation speed. Lu Changxing exhaled lightly and walked out of the talisman crafting room in a good mood, heading towards his private cultivation room to check on the cultivation speed of his second-grade spiritual root. He would also take this opportunity to see if the flawless heavenly fragrance body had any effect on cultivation. Oh. Just then Xianxia happened to walk out of a cave dwelling. Seeing Lu Changxing, her cool demeanor showed a hint of surprise. She felt that there was some change in Lu Changxing before her. But exactly what had changed she couldn't quite put her finger on it just then. Xiyu, what's wrong? Lu Changxing saw a trace of surprise on Xiaoxia's face and asked with a smile. It's nothing. I just feel like, Changxing, there's been a subtle, inexplicable change in your aura. Xiaoxia said so. An inexplicable change in aura? Lu Changxing was startled when he heard this. He knew Xiaoxia wouldn't have such a feeling for no reason. At once, he thought of the flawless heavenly fragrance body and guessed it was this constitution that brought about the subtle, inexplicable change. Just like the Immortal beauty technique and Peach Blossom Goo had each brought changes to him. Could it be, this flawless heavenly fragrance body naturally possesses a bewitching effect? Thinking of his daughter Nangong Yaoyao's talents, Lu Changxing's heart skipped a beat. If that really were the case, he felt as though he was racing down a path of billions of fairies and witches' dreams. He said with a light laugh, I've made some progress in a cultivation technique, which might have caused a small enhancement to my aura and charisma. Chapter 661. Refining the Tao Soldier, transmitting the method to Bai Ling. _1 After experiencing the cultivation speed of a second-grade spiritual root, Lu Changxing then attempted to condense the Blackwater Dragon spell. This Blackwater Dragon spell was somewhat similar to the Divine Sense Attack secret technique, Soul Dispersion Needle, that he had practiced before. Through visualization, the circulation of mana, and the internal condensation of runes, he eventually forged a Blackwater Jiao Dragon figure spell formation. Under normal circumstances, it would be very difficult to comprehend and forge the Blackwater Dragon spell. However, with system-assisted enlightenment, it was naturally a piece of cake for Lu Changxing, who did not have to torture himself as he did when initially practicing the Soul Dispersion Needle. As his mind visualized and mana circulated and converged, 72 ancient runes shaped by the 7 luminaries' mana within his dantian came together to form a mysterious pattern of runes. 5 days later, 72 ancient runes appeared in Lu Changxing's dantian, creating a mystical Taoist charm. These 72 runes moved slowly like fish, forming a Jiao Dragon pattern spell formation, which was exactly the Blackwater Dragon spell. With the formation of the Blackwater Dragon spell, Lu Changxing immediately used his mana to continuously forge it, turning it into a small talisman seed. The Blackwater Dragon spell is complete. 2 more days passed and Lu Changxing opened his eyes, his face revealing joy as he exhaled a long breath. He swallowed an elixir medicine and began to sit cross-legged to recover his mana. After his internal mana was restored, Lu Changxing stood up and walked out of his seclusion cave. He planned to catch a green blood carp and a red blood carp to try to convert them into a flood dragon Tao soldier. However, the moment he stepped out of the cave, Lu Changxing thought about his flawless heavenly fragrance body, which emitted a faint natural fragrance from his body. Speaking of which, can this fragrance be concealed? Otherwise, it's odd for a man like me to always have such a scent on my body. Lu Changxing tried to contain the fragrance emanating from his physique. The fragrance was not intense and was very pleasant to smell. Through Xiaoxia's previous remarks, he vaguely felt that this fragrance might also have some enticing effects. So he thought it best to conceal it if possible. There was no need to emit charm all the time. By running his cultivation technique, Lu Changxing could feel that the fragrance of his body had faded significantly. If there wasn't close contact, it was almost impossible to smell it. He nodded slightly, feeling much more at ease. He stepped out of Changxing Hall and came to his family's fish pond. Mountain Lord. Greetings, Mountain Lord. Husband. Daddy. Around the fish pond, numerous water pavilions had been built. The cultivators who worked at the fish farm lived in these pavilions, keeping an eye on the situation of the fish farm. Seeing Lu Changxing arrive, the cultivators in the water pavilions immediately saluted him with cupped fists. Jianghu, fetch me 1 green blood carp and 1 red blood carp, Lu Changxing said to Jianghu, the manager of the fish farm. Then he smiled and nodded to his concubine Yun Xianxian and his daughter Lu Xiaoru as he approached them with a smile, asking how they felt about the fish farming. The concubine and daughter took some interest in fish cultivation, so Lu Miaoyun arranged for them to learn here. Mountain Lord. Before long, Steward Jianghu came with a red blood carp and a green blood carp. These two carps were clearly selected carefully, weighing about 20 to 30 jin. Lu Changxing took the carps, said a few words, and then turned into a streak of light, returning to Changxing Hall. Blackwater Dragon Spell. Once inside his hall, Lu Changxing held the red blood carp, circulated the Blackwater Dragon spell in his dantian, and let the talisman seed enter the red blood carp's body. The talisman seed was extraordinarily mysterious, and in an instant, it entered the red blood carp's body without any obstruction, burrowing into its heart. Thump thump thump. Upon contact with the Blackwater Dragon spell, the red blood carp's heart seemed to beat violently. Its mouth opened and closed as if roaring, and it began to struggle fiercely. After a while, the red blood carp no longer struggled. It lay motionless, its flesh shrunken as if it had been dead for some time. Is the dragon blood too diluted, lacking potential? Lu Changxing eyed the red blood carp in front of him, eyebrows lifting. According to the Black Dragon Codex, to cultivate a Blackwater Dragon spirit weapon, one must first have an aquatic demon beast with dragon blood in its body. Then, by casting the Blackwater Dragon spell, one could temper the demon beast's dragon blood, enhancing its potential. This step is also called leaping through the dragon gate. Only by integrating the talisman seed and leaping over the dragon gate could one hope to advance to a Blackwater Dragon spirit weapon. This red blood carp had failed to survive this test, thus meeting a dead end with its vitality exhausted. It seems that this red blood carp is too inferior to be used to cultivate a Blackwater Dragon spirit weapon. Lu Changxing looked at the shriveled red blood carp and shook his head. He wasn't too concerned. After all, a red blood carp was worth just about a dozen spirit stones. Indeed, it was somewhat wishful thinking to use it to cultivate a spirit weapon. He turned his gaze to the other carp in his hand, the green blood carp. Compared to the red blood carp, the green blood carp was much more precious, valued at about 20 to 30 spirit stones. With a try-it-and-see attitude, Lu Changxing cast the Blackwater Dragon spell into the green blood carp. However, just like the red blood carp, this green blood carp also withered and died. This is dragon blood essence? At that moment, Lu Changxing noticed a strand of golden, crystalline substance inside the dead green blood carp. Through the Black Dragon Codex, he clearly recognized it as a strand of dragon blood essence. The Blackwater Dragon spell tempered the demon beast's dragon blood and stimulated its potential. But since the beast hadn't survived the ordeal, all its vitality coalesced into this strand of dragon blood essence. This strand of dragon blood essence could be used to concoct the ascending dragon elixir. After Lu Changxing's day and night nourishment, she had become even more enchanting and charming, a natural beauty with charming bones. However, compared to Nangong Meili's demonic allure, she possessed a naturally beautiful purity, giving an impression of innocence and vulnerability that was pitiable and endearing. "Daddy, look at me, I caught so many fish today." Lu Wangshu pointed at a nearby basket, enthusiastically sharing his joy with Lu Changxing. "That's wonderful." Lu Changxing glanced at the basket, thinking to himself that his daughter's fishing talents were indeed remarkable. Moreover, through the system he knew that after all this time spent fishing, Lu Wangshu's fishing skills had improved by 3%. This left him quite speechless, worried that his daughter would become obsessed with fishing all day and lose interest in cultivation and talisman making. Looking at his daughter, Lu Changxing suddenly smiled and said, "Little Wangshu, Daddy also caught a big fish just now, do you want to see it?" Daddy, you can catch fish too?" Lu Wangshu tilted her head and said so. Lu Changxing? Damn, how could such words come out of my daughter's mouth? Shouldn't she be saying things like I want to see, wow, Daddy is amazing, Daddy is incredible? This little cotton-padded jacket has a leak. Hee, since you want to see it, Daddy will show you. Lu Changxing slapped his storage bag and released the nearly 2 meters long Blackwater dragon fish, saying, "How about that, the fish Daddy caught is big, isn't it?" Wow, such a big fish. Lu Wangshu was stunned by the Blackwater dragon fish in front of her, her mouth agape in awe. She had never seen such a big fish before. It was twice her size. Bai Ling also looked at the Blackwater dragon fish with some astonishment. However, with her energy refinement late-stage cultivation level, she knew that Lu Changxing hadn't really been fishing just now. "Daddy is amazing, isn't he?" Lu Changxing said casually. "Yes, yes, yes, Daddy is really amazing." Lu Wangshu nodded repeatedly, her gaze fixed on the blackwater dragon fish. Without a hint of suspicion, she believed the fish was caught by her father from a fishing ground. Hee hee. Seeing this scene, a smile appeared on Lu Changxing's face. He thought to himself that the little cotton-padded jacket hadn't completely fallen apart after all. After chatting with the two girls for a while, he passed a message to Bai Ling with his mind, "Little Linger, wait for me tonight." The Black Dragon Codex cultivation technique, when mastered, allows one to transform into a black dragon. Currently, Bai Ling was cultivating the most basic technique, returning origin technique. Therefore, Lu Changxing planned to teach Bai Ling the Black Dragon Codex. One reason was that, given Bai Ling's talent, she indeed needed a better cultivation technique. Chapter 664. Refining the Tao Soldier, transmitting the method to Bai Ling. _4 Late at night. The room was quaint and ancient in style. On the bed, Bai Ling's slender and exquisite ketone body was covered with crystal-clear slippery white scales, making her appear as if she were wrapped in a layer of soft scale armor. The enticing, graceful figure was fully displayed, while her entire being exuded a bewitching and wild beauty. As her delicate body undulated, the glistening white scales flowed like the Milky Way, radiating specks of crystal pink light, resembling adorned gems, looking exceptionally dazzling. At this moment, Bai Ling was the epitome of temptation from head to toe. Her peach blossom eyes were especially alluring, misty as if drunk yet not drunk, dreamy and entrancing, stirring the most primal desires within others, making their hearts flutter. This often made Lu Changxing wonder if Bai Ling were to cultivate the bewitching technique, she might not be inferior to Nangong Meili. Afterward, "Brother," Bai Ling snuggled into Lu Changxing's embrace, like a well-behaved kitten. Her pure and alluring face blushed like the rosy clouds, her peach blossom eyes squinting into curved crescents, looking up at Lu Changxing with a coy and satisfied expression, tugging at his heartstrings. "Little Linger." Lu Changxing held Bai Ling's soft and silky enticing jade body. The scales on her skin to the touch were extremely comfortable, making Lu Changxing unable to let go. The two continued to cuddle affectionately, savoring the afterglow, before Lu Changxing began to ask about Bai Ling's cultivation progress. Bai Ling indicated that she was currently at the peak of the 7th level of energy refinement and would soon make a breakthrough to the 8th level energy refinement. Hearing this, Lu Changxing felt a wave of emotion. He had brought Bai Ling home less than a decade ago. And Bai Ling had only truly begun cultivating about 9 years ago. In 9 years' time she was almost ready to break through to the 8th level of energy refinement, which was incredibly astonishing. He had seen Bai Ling's status through the family system interface. Under the talent column, there was only a 5th grade spiritual root. But Bai Ling's speed of cultivation could not be explained by a mere 5th grade spiritual root. Therefore, Lu Changxing knew that Bai Ling's bloodline was even more extraordinary than he had imagined. He told Bai Ling about the Black Dragon Codex cultivation technique, mentioning that since she was in the late stage of qi refinement, she should also consider the matter of foundation establishment. It will affect having babies. After learning about the cultivation technique, Bai Ling's first concern was its side effects. She had always grown up on Qingzhou Mountain and had seen Lu Miaoyun and others give birth to children for Lu Changxing.